adults. The researchers from Brazil's Federal University of Pelotas followed close to 6,000 babies from birth into their 30s. Around 3,500 of the participants volunteered to be interviewed and take IQ tests. All of the babies who had been breastfed were of higher intelligence, had spent more time in school, and earned higher wages. The Liberty Beat is sponsored by Midas Resources Incorporated, helping clients convert their paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver. Get their 10 Reasons book free by calling 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237. Support also comes from the Texas Bitcoin Conference. Hear from speakers like Charlie Shrem, Dr. Robert Murphy, Vitalik Buterin, and Catherine Bleich, March 28th and 29th at ACL Live at the Moody Theater. Tickets on sale now at TexasBitcoinConference.com. Use coupon code LibertyBeat for $25 off your ticket. That's coupon code LibertyBeat. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Remember to check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan reporting, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Patrons at a local Boston sports club watched dumbfounded today as an unidentified man's personal trainer forced him to put on an embarrassing athletic spectacle for the entire gym.
Like a machine, there you go.
According to sources, the degrading little show went on for nearly 45 minutes, with the man reportedly being paraded around every section of the fitness establishment, doing anything his trainer commanded.
I wish I could turn around and concentrate on my workout, but I can't help but keep watching. He has to know how ridiculous he looks.
Sources added that the whole spectacle was made even sadder by the personal trainer encouraging the man to, quote, push himself a little harder.
It's like watching a f***ing trained seal.
Okay, so when you stand like that, you want to feel pressure in your knees, like this, right here, okay? Okay, give it a shot.
You root for him to tell the trainer that he's a human being with dignity and just to walk away. But no, he keeps subjecting himself to this.
All right. Let's have you get on your back and walk like a crab. Come on.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free to join the show. Bring up anything that's on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And joining you in studio, you've got Ian here.
And Johnson.
And Daryl.
And don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com, where we're here in Keene, New Hampshire, by the way, is where we do this show. It's the southwestern corner of New Hampshire, sort of the more urban area of what is mostly the woods here in the southwest.
I don't think you could consider any of New Hampshire to be urban.
Yeah.
Even the most populated city in the state is technically not
Match Vegas.
urban. I've also heard it called Matchganistan.
I guess you're probably right about that, Daryl. I mean, I guess on the scale of New Hampshire, it's urban. Like, how do you define urban anyway? Is it there a certain number of stories to the buildings, or a certain level of concentration to the people, as far as like how many people per square mile?
All I know is I think it's Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I know that there is a definition, and I will find it.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that since you brought it up.
But I know that within the Census Bureau designation, Keene is not considered to have a metropolitan area. It has a micropolitan area.
I just don't know what the definition between those two are either.
So, okay, you're from a big city originally.
I don't know. I don't know if you would call Sarasota, Florida a big city. I mean, it's a city, but the city itself, last time I looked, only had like 75,000 people in it.
I thought it had more than that.
The county had close to 400,000, but the city limits itself only 75,000.
I thought Sarasota was larger than that.
Maybe it's a little larger now, but it's probably been a decade since I've looked at the numbers. But even then, it's no Tampa or anything like that.
I thought Tampa and Sarasota were next door neighbors.
Not quite. There's an entire county between Tampa and Sarasota County. Anyway, so you look up that definition. And
I will.
The reason I mentioned we're in Keene tonight is because there's been a terrible update on a story that we covered here and actually broke the news of, I think, originally over at freekeen.com, which, Daryl, you and I are bloggers on freekeen.com. So I'm sure you recall last year in May where there was a coordinated attack nationwide. 200 raids went off on I think one or 2 day period.
Like
I think
25 or 26 states across the country.
Yeah, 200 sites, 200 raids were essentially conducted simultaneously on a lot of head shops and I think probably some people's houses and things like that. But it came to Keene on that day in question in the form of a DEA raid with what appeared to be something like a dozen agents at least. Raiding a local head shop here on Main Street called Fat Stuff. That's P-H-A-T, Fat Stuff. They'd been around for years. I remember when I moved up here, I think it was after I moved up as part of the Free State Project. All three of us, by the way, in the studio here tonight are in New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project. We moved here because we're in search of more freedom in life generally.
Shh, don't out me, man. I want to keep it a secret. I'm joining the Manchester crew. I don't want anybody
I don't know
to
what that means, Johnson. Let's go on with the story here. So we moved up here as over 1,000, actually over I think around 1,500 people have now done as part of the Free State Project. We care about freedom. We wanted to get together in a place where we could be more free instantly. New Hampshire is that place, and also work together to achieve more liberty in our lifetime. And so that's why we're here, and that's one of the reasons why I responded when I found out that Fat Stuff was being raided by the DEA. I mean, I don't know the owners of Fat Stuff, but I know that they don't seem like bad people to me. They are a couple who's been running this store for, I would say, it seems like close to a decade. Maybe it's more like 5 years, but it's been a long while. It was several years ago that the location actually wasn't even in Keene. It was in a town south of here called Winchester. And they had a storefront down there that they had operating for years. They eventually moved the store to Keene, and what Fat Stuff sells is nothing different from what every other head shop in the United States sells. They sell pipes, primarily pipes. They sell rolling papers.
But wasn't the allegation that they're spelling the K2 spice?
That was the allegation, but curiously, they haven't been charged with anything about selling spice. So that was a separate thing.
And actually, isn't it a well-known fact that particular head shop was one of the first to stop selling it before being even required by any sort of things? That particular head shop, that spice was a very common thing to appear in head shops for a long time, and did make an appearance at Fat Stuff, I believe. But they didn't like it and got rid of it long before most of the rest of the head shops in the country.
And spice is actually a brand name of a synthetic cannabis, but it has become sort of the generic name for all forms of synthetic cannabis.
And it's been always sold as incense that is clearly labeled as not for human consumption. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the owner's opinion is on that particular product, but it's my understanding the reason they stopped was because of pushback from the community. There were people protesting out in front of their store, and I guess after a while, they did continue selling it for a while, but after some period of time, they did decide to take it off their shelves, and it did happen
and then
before
there was also,
Keene passed the ordinance against it.
There was also a federal, some kind of regulation that went through saying that at the federal level, you could not sell it or something along those lines.
Did they schedule it? Did they schedule spice?
I don't know if they scheduled it, but they made some kind of federal diktat on
Honestly,
it.
I haven't been following closely the legal status of these various synthetic drugs.
Just a question. Why did they call it a schedule anyway? I mean, it almost sounds like some politicians like, well, 2 o'clock, I'm going to try spice. Like, why is it called a schedule?
Well, the schedule would be in relation to Schedule 1, Schedule 2.
Right, no, I understand
schedules
that.
For drugs.
But why is it called a schedule? Schedule to me sounds like something like a time and a place that you're going to do something.
You know what, Johnson? It's a legal term. It can have any definition they darn well please to adhere to it. So good question. If you've got the answer, you're welcome to share your thoughts here at 855-450-FREE.
So I found the definition for urban.
Urban, okay, great. Let's hear it.
Urban, or actually an urbanized area, denotes an urban area of 50,000 or more people.
50,000, okay.
An urban cluster is an urbanized area of under 50,000 people.
Hold on. So Did they just define urban with the word urban?
Yes, they did.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, so basically a densely populated area.
Yeah, but they don't say
50,000 or more.
But they don't say what the population density needs to be, right?
Because this does not say.
I mean, because yeah, and then it uses the term urban to describe.
Oh wait, hold on.
Population density.
Coming down here, another paragraph. The U.S. Census Bureau defines an urban area as core census block groups or blocks that have a population density at least 1,000 people per square mile. Okay. And surrounding census blocks that have an overall density of at least 500 people per square mile.
Got it.
All I know is that in SimCity 2000, when you got above Metropolis and you reached the megalopolis phase, that once you had above 120,000 residents, you could build the arcologies, which were like the single structures that would hold 55,000 plus residents in one building.
Wow. Okay, that would be urban.
Yeah, and then eventually, if you won the game, they would all shoot off into space.
SimCity, which one?
2000, the best SimCity.
I think I stopped playing after SimCity.
But no, arcologies are cool because they're actually becoming reality, like in Tokyo and stuff like that. They're building all these, they're essentially a self-contained city within a vertical buildings, so they have malls and big terrarium areas with gardens and whatnot, and everything's self-contained, like gyms.
I feel like I've heard about these things in the past.
Massive buildings.
But they're open. They're like happening
they
now.
Have sort of like they're happening now, mostly in.
I feel like I heard about one when it was under construction, but maybe not.
I think I want to say China, Korea, Hong Kong, like those type of areas are where Japan.
Do they have head shops though?
I'm sure.
Well, that's the thing. They're cracking down, as we were talking about here in Keene. And now the news is the owners of the head shop that was raided, and I imagine the owners of all the other hundreds, of raids that happened in the same day across the country. They've been charged criminally with conspiracy to distribute drug paraphernalia and conspiracy to money launder. They're facing 23 years in prison. I can tell you more about it coming up here in moments.
An entirely different way to blast off into space.
This is it's terrible. It's horrifying news. Their family's being torn apart as a result of it. They got 2 kids. 855-450 free. Oh, and I heard they were arrested in front of their kids too. It's Free Talk Live.
Indefinite extension of the human lifespan is coming. But is it coming soon enough for you and me? That's the $80,000 question. I say $80,000 because that's what it costs to have your head cryonically frozen by Alcor. I've committed to do it. I got a life insurance policy, and I made them the beneficiaries. Bam! My best shot at living forever. Interested? Contact them at alcor.org. ALCOR.org. Mention my name, and I get a free year of membership.
How fast are new Allegra gel caps?
I didn't know you got a cat fast.
How strong are new Allegra gel caps?
10 more lawns to go strong.
Non-drowsy Allegra gives you noticeable relief of your toughest allergy symptoms in just 1 hour, 2 times faster than Claritin, and stays strong for 24 hours.
It's relief when the pollen's off the charts strong, even a convertible.
New Allegra gel caps. Nothing's faster, nothing's stronger. Guaranteed or your money back. Visit Allegra.com. Use only as directed.
Hi, this is Mark Edge, host of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the very economic engine that powers this country. With a printing press tethered to Washington politicians, bureaucrats, and central bankers, how can we put our trust in paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Come see gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold. With Washington, D.C. delivering more debt and printed promises, common sense tells us the future of the trend is obvious. Everyone listening should visit gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938. I trust Midas Resources for my gold, silver, platinum, and you can too. Again, I want you to have this book, and it's free. It's gold.freetalklive.com or 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
If you want to move to the Free State and you're looking for some real estate, well, I know a guy who's really great. It's the realtor Mark Warden. Do you want a home with 20 acres, a lakeside cabin, any takers for renters, buyers, and sellers too? Mark Warden is the guy for you. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial in toll free and bring up whatever's on your mind. Maybe you support the hundreds of raids that went on across the United States back in May of 2014 that are now, nearly a year later, resulting in criminal charges for the head shop owners here in our very own Keene, New Hampshire. I was there on the scene of these raids for 4+ hours, recording raw video, and turned it into a 17-minute long piece about the raids, and it was just absolutely outrageous what was going on. I mean, it was just straight up armed robbery by a criminal gang who walked away with $100,000 worth of inventory of various pipes and, rolling papers and glass blown nice pipes. Essentially, it's just a bunch of pipes. They took it all and loaded up a box truck full of it and rolled away, while in some cases wearing balaclavas, full face masks to obscure who they actually were. Now, because of the footage that I got, I was actually able to show at least one of these undercover agents with his mask off as he was poking around, stealing things from this store. Now the owners are facing 23 years in prison. They've got 2 kids. The raid happened allegedly in front of the family. When it did go down. I can't really say more than that because I've only heard it third hand. But the article that I've written over at freekeene.com is from the federal government's own reports. The information, the indictment was pulled from the PACER system. So all the information there is at least factual according to the federal government. So we can tell you more about that here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And also want to let you know about the Texas Bitcoin Conference, which is coming up in about a week or so. In fact, it's going to be March 28th and 29th, happening in downtown Austin, Texas, at the Moody Theater. It's the 2nd annual. Mark and I were there broadcasting live last year. And you can join us this year. TexasBitcoinConference.com. Use code FTL when you grab your tickets. You'll get a $25 discount off the very affordable price of $150. So knock $25 off by using code FTL. And don't miss the second $1 million Bitcoin 2.0 hackathon, as well as the great guest speakers they're going to be having, like George Gilder, who is a world-famous investor, economist, and author. Symbala Nair, IBM's architect of their blockchain technology. Plus other great speakers like Charlie Shrem, Anthony Diorio, Robert Murphy, Jason King, and David Johnston. You won't want to miss this awesome event. It was a lot of fun last time. We're looking forward to being there this year. TexasBitcoinConference.com. Don't forget code FTL for the discount. Now, so just a little bit more here about what happened. It was about a month ago that not a raid, I guess, but the raid happened in May of 2014. And then a month ago, DEA agents arrested the folks who own Fat Stuff, which is a local head shop here in Keene, New Hampshire. They've been charged with conspiracy to commit money laundering and conspiracy to offer drug paraphernalia for sale. The paraphernalia sales charge carries up to 3 years in prison.
Even though all of the pipes that they sold said for tobacco use only.
Yeah, I don't know if every pipe had a label on it, but it may have. I didn't.
All of the display cases.
Really? Okay, the cases. Yeah, and they also were very careful at this shop. They had a desk right in front of the door, and as soon as somebody opened the door, they would card almost everybody that walked into that place. They didn't really care how you looked. They wanted to be very, very careful, about how they were selling this product. Obviously, they trained their sales staff to not say things that would get them in trouble.
If you even mention drugs or say the word bong,
right, bong,
you get kicked out.
Exactly.
I know that because there was somebody, a local businessman who makes silver, who was going in trying to get different businesses to accept silver. And during the course of the conversation, he said, "So, can I smoke weed out of these bongs?"
What a moron.
And they asked him to leave.
Yeah. So they're very, very cautious about that, and they've had those policies in place for a long time. This shop's been open for years. It's not like this was some new storefront that just swung its doors open and was slinging bongs out to the local teenagers. I mean, they were very cautious about how they sold the water pipes and the other pipes that were available in the store. And the really crazy part is right across the street, there's another store that sells many similar items. Now, it's a fraction of the size of the inventory. The smaller store across the street, it's more of like a corner market that has, drinks and beef jerky, magazines, newspapers. But they also have a fairly decent selection of pipes and water pipes and rolling papers and things like that.
They also sell tobacco with that.
True. Did they not sell tobacco at Fat Stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But I know for certain that the store across the street, they sell, pipe tobacco, right. They sell cigarettes, etc.
And water pipes, which, would be very similar to what would have been found across, and plus handheld pipes and things like that. So they raided the one store, but they didn't raid the other store. I'm not advocating they raid anyone, but it's just, interesting study in contrast there. So they stole about $100,000 worth of inventory. They also stole their truck. The couple that owns the store, Panos and Katie, their truck was stolen. Their bank account was raided by the feds. Every single penny essentially taken from the bank account. $100,000 of inventory. It was amazing to me that they were able to even keep the doors open on that place after the raid happened. That they continued to do business. Yeah. So that really must be it's from what I understand, very, very difficult on them right now. They're out on bail conditions that are fairly restrictive. I don't think they're confined to their home, but essentially they have no money, so they really can't go out and do anything. And they're awaiting what is going to be expected to be a 2-week-long trial in federal court coming up in April. So I just wanted to give folks who've been paying attention an update to that story.
And is this hearing going to be in Concord?
Concord, New Hampshire. Yeah, at federal court. In April, and it's yet to be determined whether or not it's going to be a jury trial or a bench trial at this point. I'm hoping they end up going with a jury trial on this because,
I don't trust juries. I don't trust judges.
Yeah, I understand that, but at least with the jury, there's 12 chances that you could have someone hang the jury as opposed to the judge who's going to look at the wording on the law here and he's going to say, well, and we don't know what evidence they have. The indictment's very, very short. Unlike Ross Ulbricht's indictment, which was, a couple dozen pages long, this one's 3 pages. It just basically kind of glosses over what happened. They're claiming here in the indictment that they knowingly, count 1 here, conspiracy to offer drug paraphernalia for sale, that they knowingly and intentionally combined, conspired, and agreed with each other and with other persons to offer for sale drug paraphernalia to include, among other items, glass pipes, bongs, and chillums in violation of Title 21 U.S. Code, which I looked up, by the way.
What is a chillum?
Oh, you know what? I don't even really know what the definition of a chillum is.
I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever used one. I bet Google could answer you and give you a picture as to what that what that looks like.
My phone just picked you up saying that because I was Googling to find out what a chillum was, and because you said that, it act with the...
It picked up chillum, huh? Knew how to spell it and everything?
No, it picked you up saying, I wonder if Google would know. And it was like, oh, what do you want?
Here I am.
Do you want me to search for you?
We've actually got some news related to Google coming up as well. An update on the Antiwar.com.
Oh, I just pulled that. Okay, great.
Situation. So whether it's chillums or anti-war, drug raids, this insane war on drugs, you can talk about whatever's on your mind here. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. 855-450-3733. And if you're someone who thinks that this couple here should be, have their family torn apart and their business destroyed because they sold some smoking implements, we'd love to hear from you. It's Free Talk Live.
By now, you may have heard a bit about Bitcoins, but did you know Bitcoins are now over an $8.5 billion market? And did you know that over 65,000 businesses now accept Bitcoins? Listen, if you're already earning Bitcoins or trying to make money in the Bitcoin market, you've got to know BidBit.co. Why? Because BidBit.co is where you can easily receive Bitcoins by selling and auctioning off your own personal items or promote business products and services for Bitcoins. You heard right. Whether personal or business, you can now buy, sell, and auction your products and services quickly, easily, and securely for Bitcoin at BidBit.co, the first and only marketplace website to offer BidBit Escrow, a proprietary technology which gives buyers and sellers security and peace of mind because all transactions are protected. Start today. It's free to join, free to post, free to auction, and free to bid at BidBit.co. Buy, sell, bid, or auction everything Bitcoin. That's www.bidbit.co. BidBit.co.
This is Rick.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Because we are smothering in spam, please do not reply to all when you can instead reply. I was recently among over 100 invited to a corporate reunion. It's always a warm affair, and that's the problem. Enthusiasm for our upcoming get-together caused many recipients to RSVP the organizer with a cheery reply to all. I can't wait. Then others piled on with a reply to all to that. Then the "I'm out of my office now" autoresponders joined in. So I replied to all, asking that we all reply only to the organizer. Hey, at least I tried. One invitee, apparently retired, shot back, "Point taken, but I really like seeing the responses since they're so positive." Smiley face. This better be an open bar. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control toll-free here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Join us online over at freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features we've got waiting for you there. You get to create the content that's there on the front page of the site. Submit what you want, and then other listeners can vote it up or down, whether they like or dislike. It's a great way to kind of get a feel for what Free Talk Live listeners are interested in and talking about. Another great site, freedomsphoenix.com. You're uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies every day over at freedomsphoenix.com. You provide the detailed, real news that lies between the lines of propaganda and the relationship we have with coercive governments. At freedomsphoenix.com, they offer up-to-the-minute updates on the economy, technology, communications, and the rise of the police state. Go now to freedomsphoenix.com and get signed up for the free daily dispatch. That's freedomsphoenix.com. So on one hand, you've got the federal government sort of, there's some changes afoot that almost make it seem like at least the marijuana portion of the war on drugs is over, right? Like the Colorado, Washington, now Alaska and Oregon, they've all legalized cannabis to some extent or another. Washington, D.C., even legalized cannabis as the city, and it looks like the federal government can't really do much about it at this point. Whether they're going to make a move and arrest the mayor or not still remains to be seen.
I've got a question about that. So in these states where marijuana is being made legal or decriminalized, that there have been civil asset forfeiture cases where I saw a meme, and I don't know how true it is, that somebody actually was able to go into a police department and ask for their marijuana back.
That was in D.C.
In D.C. But here's the thing. I want to know if somebody was formerly a dealer could go and say, I'd like my vehicle back.
Probably That's
not.
A good question. With the cannabis, I know when Derek J. was arrested a few years ago, he wound up, after getting out of jail and going down to seek refuge in Philly, he got a letter, and I called him up on the phone. Hey, you got a letter from Keene Police. Do you want me to open it and read it to you? He said yes. It was a notice of destruction of evidence, and he could request that they not destroy the evidence and that they return the evidence. The evidence was cannabis.
Right.
So my guess is...
So.
Right, but my guess is what happened down in D.C. was somebody got arrested when it was illegal.
Right.
And then after it became decriminalized, he got this notice of destruction of evidence and walked in and said, yes, I would like my cannabis back,
My
please.
understanding of the D.C. situation, and I could be wrong, was that he was arrested for something else. And so he was arrested for something else, and they confiscated the marijuana at that time, and that he went in and then was able to get that back. But you could be right as well.
I didn't read the whole backstory on it, but I have read a good bit about what they're calling legalization in D.C., and their legalization does not allow any kind of sale at all.
That's correct.
You can gift up to an ounce to someone.
Right.
But they cannot give you anything as compensation or a thank you for that gift.
I want to go to Tony. He's in New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tony.
How you doing?
Hey, Tony. What's on your mind tonight?
This is a kind of a concept that most people aren't even paying attention to. But little by little, we're losing the right to use American tender, cash. For different things.
What are you talking about?
Cash. American.
I understand what cash is. When you say you're losing the right to use it, what do you mean by that?
There's no law that says a proprietor or any business has to accept American cash. Now, already on airlines...
Actually, there is a law that they have to accept... Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that they don't have to accept cash. But there is a law that they do have to accept the U.S. currency. It's called legal tender. And so I guess what you're saying is that on an airline, they'll only take a credit card. Technically, that's still accepting legal, or that's still accepting U.S. currency. So I guess that's how they get around it.
Okay, but I'm talking about cash.
Yeah.
So once you eliminate cash, if that's the next move, then all of the distribution of, I mean, I can make a joke out of it. You want to go buy pot, you got to buy it with a credit card. You want to buy Coke, you got to buy it with a credit card. They're going to get rid
Clearly,
of
you
the
haven't heard
cash.
about Bitcoin yet, Tony.
And there's also like a bunch of steps to go between you can only use a credit card on an airplane that's 30,000 feet up in the air, and you can't use dollar bills anywhere ever, and you wind up going to jail if you possess one. There's a huge gap between those two things.
Well, you go on a parkway in New Jersey, there is no credit cards, no cash.
No cash or no credit cards?
Pass. Either.
They've made it Easy Pass for everyone?
Yeah, yes, and they're trying to push this on the bridges, which violates the Commerce Clause.
I heard about this, actually. I heard that that some states were doing it where there's no more cash lanes, and basically if you don't have an Easy Pass, they send you a fine.
I have not heard about this at all.
Yeah, it's
just one more reason that I will avoid New Jersey.
Well, but let me give you the big picture here. All of the banks are the centralizing of wealth all over the world. Now, once you have electronic money, and however they manipulate the stocks, as our money starts to change in value, other things become more important. Salt at one time was the main source of wealth, not gold. That's why the word salary came from salt.
I'm sorry, salt?
So
Did you say salt was the main form of wealth?
Yeah, like table salt, stuff you put on food.
When was that? Because that seems like a long time ago. You're saying before gold and silver, there was salt?
Salt. Salt was, that's why they say you're worth, you ever hear those sayings?
You're
the
weight in
salt
salt
of the earth. There's so many poetic lines about you're the salt of the earth, you're not worth the salt. And salt was so important at one time. So the point I'm making is...
Right, it was important because that's how you preserved food before refrigerators existed.
But he's saying it was currency.
Well, there was no refrigerators. I mean, every animal has to have salt.
This is new to me. I have not heard salt was currency. Had you ever heard that one, Daryl?
I never heard that it was currency, but I knew that it was valuable and important.
Is that what you're saying? Are you saying salt was actually used as currency, or that it was just valuable to people?
I'm going before currency. Until Andrew Jackson
Technically, anything that is valuable is generally exchanged as a medium of exchange, and that's the definition of currency.
Look, Tony, I know where you're coming from, man. What you're saying is that you're afraid of the idea of a cashless society. That if cash goes away, then every transaction will be tracked. And I think there's some valid concerns there, and there's some evidence that certainly some people in the banking world would like to eliminate cash, as well as government would like that, because they like the idea of tracking people, right?
Well, and also, let me give you the thing that bothers me the most. Mom and pop businesses have to work on a certain amount of cash, and that has to come from small banks. Now, they've already made a law that a bank cannot lend out money, cash, until it has a certain amount of money always. So the banks are also restricted by making the cash available.
That sounds like misinformation. I mean, maybe I misunderstood what you're saying, but banks are able to lend out something like 9 times the amount of money they have in reserves. It's called fractional reserve banking. Tony, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, and they're authorized to do that by the Federal Reserve. It's basically kind of a scam, essentially. They can loan you money into existence. The local bank can essentially create money by you signing their loan forms, is my understanding of how it works. It's pretty crazy. 855-450-FREE. Share your thoughts.
Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges.
This is Davi Barker from ShinyBadges.com, and I just want to personally apologize for airing a jingle week after week, month after month, that turned out to be such an infectious brainworm. So to make it up to you, I'm offering a free gift. The next time you make a purchase at ShinyBadges.com, write worms in the transaction comments, and I'll send you something weird.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610 or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates. 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
Free Talk Live.
Well, I'm a working police officer. I'm actually on duty in a small town in Central Texas. I've been doing this job 10 years. 99% of what you guys talk about is dead on. We got guys getting into this profession just to wear a badge and play God. It's getting worse and worse. There used to be a couple of decent guys that I worked with. Both of them have quit.
Why did they quit?
Well, it's because of the BS. We can't help the people that actually need help, which is what you get into this job to do if you're a good person.
It's interesting that whenever honest cops call in like you, we get the same story, that the corruption rises through the ranks, that the good guys, the guys like you that got in to make a difference and actually help people and catch the real bad guys, the guys like you end up getting frustrated by the system, frustrated by the corruption and the bureaucracy, and they end up quitting, which of course means that more bad guys can move in and move up through the ranks. Is anything inaccurate about that?
No, sir. That's my point entirely.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
You can interact with other LRN listeners in our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live coming up. Google versus Antiwar.com. The situation is getting worse instead of better. It was looking like it was going to get better, but now talks have sort of degenerated at this point, I guess you could say. We'll give you more information here in a moment. And our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, plus some good news, perhaps, for Amazon. Johnson's got a story about the FAA might actually be allowing some drone testing.
Hey.
So we'll get into that here, because right now it's completely prohibited for you to use drones for commercial purposes. You want to go up, take a picture of a wedding? with your drone, if you're the hired photographer, you are committing a federal crime. So maybe that'll be loosening up. Johnson's got more on that. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Plus, we were talking about a local head shop that was raided in 2014. The owners are facing 23 years in prison for selling pipes and what they claim is conspiracy to launder money, which is an interesting charge, right? Normally you think of laundering money, something that drug dealers do. Well, they're charging them with laundering money because they're saying that just because they sold something that was supposedly contraband is laundering money. Anytime you sell something that's illegal, according to the federal government, you're laundering money. So they're facing 20 years for laundering money and 3 years for selling pipes. So a total of up to 23 years plus $500,000 in fines, or up to $500,000. So if you want to comment on the war on drugs destroying people's families and businesses, because there's a business here. They have hired people locally to sell these pipes, and they're helping people with jobs, and they've got 2 kids, and now it's all being thrown into ruin thanks to the federal government's insane war on drugs that continues to destroy lives, even as marijuana is being legalized in states all across the United States, even in Washington, D.C. And then we had Tony call in from New Jersey saying that he's concerned about the lack of cash in the world, that more businesses, he says, are now not accepting cash. He gave certain airlines as an example. And it's true. I don't know which one it is, but there's at least one airline where you cannot pay cash for alcohol or any drinks on board. You have to pay with a credit card.
They should really just get it over with and have some sort of payment system that everybody can do with like a mark on their hand or something.
Well, that's certainly what some people are afraid of, right? That they see the cashless society as a first step towards, the mark of the beast or whatever. And then, of course, those same people will not be happy with Bitcoin, which is...
I need to just write a cash transaction system or whatever, that's a universal payment system, and just come up with an acronym that spells out like BEAST or whatever.
The new Beast card now available.
and then try and get some government contract money, Why not?
And make sure that the first number, the middle number, and the last number are all 6.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there are people who are concerned about this, and I think they have some legitimate concerns. I mean, I think it is a legitimate concern that the government will be able to track all transactions. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why there are people within the government and the banking system who would like to end cash. They would like to have people just using some sort of a government card or a credit card where every place they go, there will be some government bureaucrat who will be able to pull up a report and see, oh, well, this person has done all of these things financially, and if there's no cash, then in theory that would make it more difficult to do things like selling drugs or prostitution. I mean, there's going to be a way that the black market will find to work around that.
Just buy our groceries.
What's that?
You said it would make it difficult to do prostitution. I said just buy her some groceries.
Well, right. There would be a trade. I mean, they would have to use their card to buy something that the person values and then give it to them. So, the drug dealer might need groceries, or they might need a car stereo system that they can then trade. It would make things a little bit more complicated.
Get yourself involved with the new biometric economic assets system for transaction.
BEAST. Wait, wow. What was the A? Biometric economic asset system?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed the asset. But I share some of the concerns there, right? Like, I don't want the government to be able to track everything that I do.
Right.
And so I don't support the ending of cash on that basis. I think, as long as a government currency is going to exist, I don't support ending cash. I don't support the government currency, and that's why I support Bitcoin and other alternatives to where, people can use a system that is not created by the government, not created by the banks, that is completely decentralized. Although someone could rightfully point out, well, hey, Bitcoin is even more transparent than the cash system is, because all Bitcoin transactions are available as a public ledger. Anyone who wants to can go to blockchain.info, type in a Bitcoin wallet address, and see every single transaction that has ever been associated with that address. So
right, but they don't necessarily pull up what the transaction was for, the transaction went to, who the transaction originated from, unless one of the Bitcoin wallet IDs that they're using is publicly attached to someone.
Correct. And sometimes blockchain will show you that information. So if you pull up a wallet ID, it will actually identify in some cases what that wallet is. Like they know Free Talk Live's wallet. They know LRN.FM. They know, they probably know FPP.cc. So yeah, you're right though, Daryl. If you don't reveal the wallet information that you have for Bitcoin publicly, then no one can know that it's your wallet. But of course, if you want someone to pay you with Bitcoin, at some point you would have to give them your wallet ID. But the thing with Bitcoin,
but you can have multiple wallets. Right. You can have one for receiving, and then you send those Bitcoin after you receive them to another wallet that you use for spending. And then you can use coin mixing and other sorts of
coin mixing is the really important
softwares.
Because just because you think that you haven't identified your wallet doesn't mean that some government agent couldn't say, hey, like this X wallet service, especially if you're using a wallet service, say, what IP address is accessing this wallet, and then they take that IP address and then contact the ISP, and then they've identified who owns that IP address.
Right.
I mean, it's like,
if you're using a wallet service.
Sure.
But you can also set up the Bitcoin software on your own computer.
And then it makes it even easier to trace because then they can figure out which, what Bitcoin is addressing that wallet, and they know where the transaction is going to an IP address, right?
No, I don't think that there's a specific IP address associated with the wallet, right? So the wallets all exist on the Bitcoin network.
Right.
There's not, even though the wallet file, the private key that you have, the way Bitcoin works is there's a public and a private key, and the person with the private key essentially has the key to the vault, if you will,
right.
The key to the account. They don't know where that key is. Just because I'm running software on my computer right now, I'm connected to the Bitcoin network, and that Bitcoin software is running, the FTL wallet essentially. Right. But if I open up a different wallet in that software, it doesn't broadcast, hey, so-and-so, this IP address has this wallet at it. So you can still access those wallets in a fairly anonymous fashion as long as you haven't shared the wallet information with someone as, hey, this is my wallet. There's no real way for them to know. They could look and they could see, oh, well, you've, Daryl, your FPP wallet here, we see that 100 Bitcoins has left that wallet and it's sitting in this other wallet, and we suspect that it's yours. But unless you admit to it being yours, they don't know for sure.
I'd really like to know where those 100 Bitcoin came from, because I have never had that many.
So I think Bitcoin is a way around this, actually. So, if they were to actually go to the cashless society that our caller was concerned with, if, at 2016 they flip a switch and they say, well, now anytime you spend cash, we're going to be taking it out of circulation for the next year, and then after 2016, cash will no longer exist in the United States. Because that's what would have to happen, right? Like they would essentially have to outlaw the use of cash, or have a transitionary period where people could still use cash, but every cash deposit sent to a bank would never be able to be withdrawn, that the banks would then sort of collect all the cash that was wherever brought to them. That might be one way for them to end it. But if they do that, then people could still use Bitcoin to do other off-the-books transactions like drug deals or whatever it is they're trying to stop by getting rid of cash. That would just move more business to Bitcoin. It would actually be one of the best things that could possibly happen for Bitcoin is the prohibition of using cash, in my opinion.
I don't know. I'm thinking if they wind up, and this is purely hypothetical, but if there is some kind of thing of all monies deposited into banks from now until the end of next year, people would still have cash to do drug deals with.
Yeah, but if you can't do anything with the cash besides sell drugs, then what good is it?
You can do other things with cash besides sell drugs. You can give it to strippers. You can give it to prostitutes.
Cash is only valuable.
You can give it to people that grow their own chickens and hens.
But the cash is only valuable because it's forced to be accepted at businesses. It's legal tender, and that means that businesses have to accept it.
You do realize that there were times before legal tender laws, right?
Yeah, I understand that.
And people used cash before there were legal tender laws.
Okay, but if no businesses will accept cash, then what value is it besides
people
buying
will accept it.
Prostitutes?
Buying unregulated bacon, buying uninspected eggs.
I guess. So what you're saying is people
underground economies.
You're saying people will so widely accept it that it won't matter if it's prohibited.
Yes.
There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Well, I did it. I finally left the Empire behind. And now that I'm safely settled in Chile, I'm gathering with others like me to build a new community called Fort Galt. Fort Galt is designed to be the ideal home base for professionals and their families to live and work in peace. If you're ready to ditch the superstate and bring your business to freer lands, visit us online at fortgalt.com. That's fortgalt.com.
Kay Oliver is part of the Twayambe Women's Group in Jinja, Uganda. She gets old clothes, fixes them up, washes them, and then sells them at the Jinja market. She was quite happy with her success at her business, but realized that a sewing machine would really help her make more money to take care of her 2 kids. Free Talk Live helped her get that sewing machine. You can help us help more people by getting your coffee through coffee.freetalklive.com. Make a difference, 1 cup at a time. Get a free pound, try out the subscription, cancel at any time, coffee.freetalklive.com.
Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges.
This is Davi Barker from ShinyBadges.com, and I just want to personally apologize for airing a jingle week after week, month after month, that turned out to be such an infectious brainworm. So to make it up to you, I'm offering a free gift. The next time you make a purchase at ShinyBadges.com, write worms in the transaction comments, and I'll send you something weird.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, March 20th, 2015. Silver is trading at $16.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,172 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $261. Antiwar.com reports Israel had a good thing going over the last several years, claiming nominal support for a two-state solution while having in its back pocket a U.S. veto for any resolution at the UN Security Council supporting the creation of a Palestinian state. A spat between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Obama, coupled with Netanyahu openly campaigning on his opposition to Palestinian statehood, seems to have changed that, and Obama has warned Netanyahu that the U.S. is reassessing its policies on Israel. That could mean a lot of different things, but administration officials say it includes serious consideration of backing a UN Security Council resolution supporting, in principle, a Palestinian statehood along the 1967 borders. Pretty much the whole rest of the Security Council supports such a resolution as a matter of course, and the reason they never pass it is because the U.S. vetoes them for being unhelpful to Israel. Acrimony between the two nations may have changed that perspective, and Netanyahu's open opposition to Palestinian self-determination could lead the U.S. to conclude that he needs some serious coaxing to that end. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Archdiocese of San Francisco announced it will uninstall a system designed to soak homeless people sheltering in the doorway of St. Mary's Cathedral. The system, which dumps water onto the ground under the sheltered doorways of the cathedral for about 75 seconds every 30 to 60 minutes, led to widespread criticism after it was revealed to the public on Wednesday. The diocese released a statement saying it would remove the system by the end of the day Wednesday. The diocese said its intentions had been misunderstood understood and recognized that the methods used was ill-conceived. It actually has had the opposite effect from what it's intended to do, and for this, we are very sorry. The statement said church officials also learned that the system may have violated the city's water use law. San Francisco Department of Building Inspection spokeswoman Lily Magis told the Washington Post that the cathedral was issued a notice Wednesday for unpermitted downspout. She said the department's plumbing inspector visited the church on a complaint Tuesday. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a rookie Los Angeles police officer accused of killing a man after a fight in the bar district of a Southern California community was driven to a Texas city on the Mexican border by his father last week and has not been seen since. Henry Salas, a 27-year-old probationary officer, is accused of shooting Salome Rodriguez Jr. multiple times on March 13th near several nightclubs in downtown Pomona, about 35 miles east of Los Angeles. An arrest warrant has been issued for Salas, and the LAPD has started the process of firing him. In an affidavit filed in U.S. District Court in support of the fugitive warrant, FBI agent Scott Garriola wrote that items left at the scene of the shooting and other evidence has identified Salas as the man who shot Rodriguez to death. Garriola said family members told the FBI in subsequent interviews that Salas had made incriminating statements shortly after the killing and told them he would never be seen again. That day, Garriola said he called the father, Victor, who lived in nearby Lancaster. According to the affidavit, Victor Salas later told the FBI that he had driven his son to El Paso and dropped him off at a bus station and did not know where his son currently was. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Tomorrow's my big day. I'm going to go in for surgery, and hopefully you'll come along. Now, I do have to admit that I am in a bit of pain, so I'm really looking forward to this procedure. I think we're both going to find out that having surgery just isn't as scary as it sounds.
We're covering our own Jim Haggerty's kidney stone removal surgery, and his surgery is now just minutes away. So, Dr. Atka, tell us what precautions we would take to prevent us from getting kidney stones.
Always stay hydrated. Water helps the kidneys break the stuff down.
Ah, hear that, Jim? More water.
What?
More water. Maybe we should replace your coffee.
Please go away. Please. Ow, no.
That's a camera they're going to use to film the whole surgery from inside Jim's body,
yes, that's going to be pushed into Jim's urethra as well. Now, normally they wouldn't do this. This is purely for the benefit of us watching it on TV.
All right, stick with us, because first he's going to pop into the children's ward to cheer up some youngsters suffering from terminal illnesses.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live, welcome to hour number 2, where, of course, we'll take your calls about anything you want to discuss. Coming up, the Amazon drones may be taking to the sky sooner rather than later. Johnson's got the story there. And Antiwar.com versus Google. Daryl has an update in that piece, and from what I understand, we may actually be having someone from Antiwar on tomorrow night.
Oh, good.
As well. So we'll get into all those things. Of course, you can bring up whatever you want. So we talked about the head shops around the country being raided last year. Charges are now being brought against head shop owners, at least here in Keene, I presume elsewhere. You are welcome to comment on that. If maybe you've got some comments on the insane war on drugs. Maybe you support the war on drugs and you want to see head shop owners spend 23 years in prison.
Maybe you fight the war on drugs. How does it feel to fight a 40-year war against a plant and know that you are losing?
Oh, they know. They certainly know. I remember I talked to a DEA agent once. Actually, I think it was former DEA, but he had worked for them for a while. And I asked him, when we were in a radio studio, and I think he was there for some other purposes, but he let me know that he was with the DEA, and so I asked him. And he admitted, they know they're losing the war on drugs. They can't stop drugs from coming into the country, but they're just so high on adrenaline. They can't stop drugs
from getting into the prisons.
Right. They're just so high on adrenaline, though, they can't stop doing what they're doing. They're getting the paychecks, and they're getting the excitement of going to destroy people's lives and property, and they love it. So
that should be it would be interesting if there was a drug that, like, you know how there's like Chantix, I think it is, or something like that prevents people from experiencing the effects of nicotine if
I've
they
heard about
smoke, right?
Yeah.
Like something like that. Well, imagine if they came up with some sort of drug that prevented you from experiencing the effects of adrenaline. I would think that that would need
the police
probably have that.
Yeah, sure. I would recommend that. I would think that
it's
should be
probably some mood stabilizer thing that they give to people that are, manic depressive.
And I would think that it would be interesting, and I think that it should be mandatory for police to take.
So, Johnson, there was something you wanted to say that you were saying off the air about legal tender, that if they got rid of legal tender laws,
sure.
I want you to hold that thought. I want to get into it. I just didn't want you to forget about it. We're going to get into that next. But Alma's on the line first in Tallahassee. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Alma.
Hey, sweetie pie.
Hey, Alma. What's on your mind tonight?
All right. I sell eggs. If the government thinks they're going to get 2 cents off of what I sell, I can't even make money off of what I sell to sell eggs. And I want to bring up something else.
You just sell them. You just sell the eggs because you want to provide that service to people.
I can't eat eggs every freaking day.
Okay, you have too many eggs. I got you.
I don't want to eat.
Are they trying to
eggs
tax
every
your
freaking
egg
day.
sales? Is that the idea? The state of Florida wants to come in with the sales tax on eggs?
Good luck to them. Find me.
Well, the feds have an income tax.
Yeah.
Does the state of Florida have an income
No.
tax?
Thank goodness, no.
But
Georgia tried to do this and said anybody that sells anything in our county that you had to have a license to do it.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry.
they
I thought you were in
backed off of
Tallahassee.
it.
You're actually in Georgia, but you're listening to a Tallahassee. You listen to a Tallahassee
I'm on
radio
the
station.
internet.
Yeah.
They don't put you on Tallahassee half the friggin' time. I miss you all the time.
Well, thank you, Alma. What else did you want to share?
But
Go
I
ahead.
get on the internet. Wait, don't leave me.
We're right
we're
here.
not.
We're right here.
All right,
Go
don't
ahead.
leave me. But anyway, the other night I hung on the phone for
clinging.
2 hours.
Stage
I
5
thought I
clinger.
might get on. It was about the 4 moons.
The four moons. What the hell was that? I vaguely recall.
4 blood moons.
Oh, the blood moon thing. This was the religious thing. Are you a subscriber? Do you believe in the
It ain't
four
in the friggin' Bible, my darling.
It's
I've
not.
read it 5 times. It ain't in there.
All right.
It only speaks about it 1 time.
I'll take your word for it, Alma. Thank you for the call tonight. Toll-free numbers 855-453.
So what's this thing about the blood moon?
I couldn't even begin to tell you. It's some crazy thing about how there's these 4 blood moons in a certain time frame where if that happens, something goes on in the Jewish land in the Middle East.
Okay, it sounds like something somebody
ridiculous.
made up and pulled out of their butt.
Yeah, but but it was shocking when this came up on Free Talk Live. What was shocking was how many people called in to talk about it. So there seems to be quite
you
a
may have
wide.
opened the Pandora's box again of the blood moons.
Yeah, well, there seems to be quite a wide array of people out there who follow and are interested in this blood moon thing. If you Google it, you'll learn more than you probably ever wanted to know about it. But the idea is
you mean that there are people
moons
interested in superstitions?
Oh yeah, there's the blood moons
I wouldn't
are
have ever guessed that.
supposedly predictive of major events in like Israel and things like that.
Okay, so a blood moon, that's just what they call it when there's a full lunar eclipse. Because of the preumbral and something else, the moon appears red. The moon actually doesn't turn to blood.
Right.
So I just did a quick Google search for 4 blood moons. Apparently John Hagee, who's some weird, crazy preacher
Didn't he run
guy.
for president?
No, you're thinking Mike Huckabee.
I thought there was some guy for the Natural Law Party years ago, but maybe I'm misremembering.
That was not Hagee. That
Okay.
was Hagelin.
Ah, okay.
But John Hagee, I've seen clips of his television preacher show where he's got on like a big thing behind him pictures of Iraq, and it says like Iraq and this and that, and he's one of these doomsday preacher guys that basically goes out and advocates we need to go kill people because killing people will speed up the end times.
Armageddon or whatever.
And Armageddon and yay murder. Basically. But he wrote a book called 4 Blood Moons. No clue what it's about.
Yeah, I'll skip that one. Johnson, so let's go to the legal tender. You had a theory unless you want to talk about full blood moon, but I really don't think we need to.
No. I thought we were going to talk about Amazon.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But you had something that a theory about what if they ended legal tender laws? That would mean that cash wouldn't go away necessarily, but it wouldn't be mandatory that businesses accept the government currency.
Right. So what's the only thing that's backing the value of the United States fiat currency?
Belief.
Incorrect.
They claim that the money is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government.
And what
but
does
I
that
have
mean?
no faith in the credit of the United States government.
But you still use the cash.
You don't have to, and here's the reason why. What it's really backed by, and why don't you have to have faith in the credit of the American country for?
Because I know that the people at the grocery store are going to take the $50 piece of paper.
And why are they going to take that $50 piece of paper?
Because they
don't actually
that it's
believe
worth $50.
But if you're saying it's based on the credit of the United States, and you don't have credit in the United States, is it possible that they also might not have faith in the credit of the United States, but accept the money anyway?
No, you're getting it's a little too esoteric there.
It's not that esoteric. Here's what it is. Here's what the money is actually backed by. Violence, period. That's what it's backed by. It's backed by a threat.
There's an element of that, yes. But if you remove the threat, people aren't going to just drop using U.S. currency.
I think it would be extremely fast. Paper money in this country because paper money in this country has vanished at one point in the past. It became a huge problem back during the whole gold era thing when the money started to completely lose its value.
Because it was being inflated and it was easy
and the
to
money
counterfeit.
Now isn't being inflated?
It is, but now it's not being inflated as much as it was then. It's a lot more difficult to counterfeit now than it was then.
What if the government is not backing up their currency anymore? Wouldn't it be a lot easier to counterfeit?
Oh, what do you mean they're not backing it up? I'm sorry. I thought you were saying there would be no legal tender. And legal tender is where the government simply forces, by threat of violence, business owners to accept their currency within their jurisdiction.
If they stop doing that, if they stop...
And you're saying if they stop doing that, that doesn't mean they wouldn't be backing it. They would still be issuing it. They would still be collecting it.
I don't think that they would. I'm just saying that probably would. If they're not backing up the currency anymore, they're probably going to stop issuing it and doing all that stuff.
Well, now you're talking about something different.
Sure.
Okay, so there's two things we're talking about.
I'll go with you on that. I'm just saying I think if
what
they're
are you
not
going with me on?
I'm going with you on saying that we're in this fictional situation. They're not backing the legal tender laws anymore, but yet they're still producing the currency. I'm thinking that if
that was my understanding of what you originally were saying.
Sure.
Okay.
Then I would suggest that if this were to occur in real life, that somehow the government stopped backing the legal tender laws, they'd probably be in some sort of situation where they're not backing the currency at all.
But you would have more entities issuing private currency, so people would still be using paper money.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe not.
They're not going to stop using the dollar if they just stop legal tender laws. People are going to continue using it as long as other people continue using it. They'd have to have something else to go to, something better. It's Free Talk Live.
My golden retriever, Sundance, is a lot more playful now. She has more pep and energy than I've seen in years.
Tons of energy. Petey is having fun again. He's got a shiny coat and a good healthy weight.
Molly's been having 4 scoops a day. She pushes her little bowl all the way across the room, emptying every last single crumb. She has slimmed down and gotten this puppy look.
She's got life. She's got energy. She's got stuff to give.
We get asked all the time when we're at shows, how do you get your dog so healthy and shiny and glossy?
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids,
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Family will be on Dinovite for the rest of his life. Just feed your dog right. Use Dinovite. If it's working, don't quit.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realist, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free to bring up anything you want at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, the latest in the development between Antiwar.com and Google. There's been quite the dust-up over the last 48 hours or so, and we can fill you in there. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. And actually, a couple folks are waiting on Skype, so we're going to get right to your calls and thoughts here. So you can join us on Skype at username LRN.FM. And we're talking about currency. We're talking about the government money and non-government money like Bitcoin. You can go and get some Bitcoin. Maybe you've been thinking about it. You can go and get some right now over at expresscoin.com. Go get signed up over there in the U.S., whether you're in the U.S. or Canada. Expresscoin.com, they've jumped through the governmental hoops. They're a licensed money services business. They're fast, safe, easy, and inexpensive. And you can acquire Bitcoin, Litecoin, and even Dogecoin from expresscoin.com. Plus, you can do it from your smartphone by downloading their app at expresscoin.com. Use coupon code FTL and get up to $40 worth of your cryptocurrency of choice with no fee. So if you've been thinking about maybe jumping into Bitcoin and you're not really sure what the best way to do it is, expresscoin.com. There's no fee when you use code FTL on up to $40 worth of, again, your cryptocurrency of choice. So expresscoin.com, code FTL. We can come back, talk more about currency here in a moment. We've actually got an international call from over in Cameroon, Africa, or at least I presume that's where you are, Akko. Sometimes you've been elsewhere. I know you've been in Chad at least once when you've called. Where are you tonight? Or it's right. Yeah, it's certainly nighttime where you are. It's probably, 1 in the morning right now? Do we have Akko with us? Akko?
Yeah, hello.
Hey.
Hey, hello, Ian. Happy to be back on the show.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I'm sorry that no one in Cameroon can listen, at least via satellite right now. But I'm glad you've still taken the time to call us. What did you want to share tonight?
Yeah, it has been very difficult. the Liberty Radio Network is part of our family over here. For us to be now for some time without listening to the radio is very difficult. And right back there is no internet connection where you can listen to the programs online. But I traveled to Bamenda to come on the show and to announce to you guys that finally my passport is out. I am very happy, and I want to say thank you to everybody of the Liberty Radio family.
Let me give a little bit of recap here for listeners that may be just tuning in. So you called for the first time several months ago and sort of told the story about how you found LRN.FM on free-to-air satellite there in Cameroon. You spread the word to many of your neighbors and your friends, and they also started listening, which was really awesome. And eventually, people, as you continue to call, people learned more about you and what life is like there and how difficult it can be to live in Cameroon. People make, next to nothing. The government destroys people's opportunities to create wealth for themselves. It's a very, not very nice government there. The president's been in place longer than I've been alive. And, it's pretty awful to live in Cameroon in a lot of ways. But and you've shared a lot of that with us, and many of our listeners have reached out to attempt to help you and help you help others as well. We did a collection once where our listeners sent, I think it was something like $150 to you, and that translates into quite a few francs, and you were just really I guess, overtaken by emotion and seeing that level of generosity, saying you'd never actually had that amount of money at one time in your entire life, and you were able to go out and actually help people purchase satellite equipment and get hooked up. And eventually James Davis, who's one of the guys that helps us out behind the scenes here at Free Talk Live, he reached out to you and said he wanted to help you get a passport so you could come visit the United States. And then you started that process, and you talked to us about how there's like bribes involved, and essentially you've got to grease people's palms in order to make this happen. And then you had to wait for a while. So what did it take, about 2+ months for this to come through?
Yes, it took about 2.5 months for it to be processed, as they told me yesterday in their office.
And so you've got it. You've actually got the physical document. It's a done deal at this point.
Yes, I've got it. I'm holding it right now in my hands. I want to say thank you to James W. Davis. It's wonderful. This is a wonderful achievement in my life. When I'll be going back home tomorrow, people will be waiting for me on the street, shouting and chanting and saying wonderful things.
It's also amazing how one thing can lead to another, right? In this information world that we live in, but many people in Cameroon do not, because there's no internet in a lot of places there. You came on, talked about how you were looking to get a passport. Then another guy, was it from Finland? I'm forgetting where he was from. A guy from North Europe or Eastern Europe, somewhere up there.
The guy, it's Kamil from Poland.
Poland, okay. And he reached out to you and said, hey, once you get that passport, we want you to come up, I think it was during the summer, for a convention they're having up there and have you speak at it. Is that right?
Yes. They are inviting me for a 1-week seminar in Poland, which is going to take place in October.
Okay,
so
this fall.
I've just written a mail to them informing them that the passport is out. So I think very soon we are going to start with the process of the visa issue. I look forward to that.
So exciting. I think that is such a cool opportunity, and it just came together basically because you called this radio show and shared your story. I think it's really cool.
Ian, the Liberty Radio Network has changed my life. It has exposed me to the outside world. It has made me to know many things, and it is creating opportunities for me, things that were just like dreams to me. Imagine me going to Poland and maybe one day going to the US. It's like dream come true, and it is all thanks to the Liberty Radio Network. I am very grateful. I want to say thank you again.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you, Akko, for everything that you've done. And we're doing our best to get LRN back on satellite. And it's actually
Yes. I saw the message you sent to me the other day about the fundraiser. I've gone through the page. I've seen that we have already raised about $185. It's just amazing. It is just wonderful. I pray that this thing gets through so that we should get back our radio back into our lives.
Yeah, I thank you, Akko. Anything else you want to share with us tonight?
I just want to say it has been very difficult for me going to Bamenda and subscribing to the internet, because all the internet companies have changed their technology to the 3G system. They have made it very expensive. I think it's because they want to tie us down. They don't want us to get access to the internet. All of this issue of changing their technology means nothing, because when they change it, they keep adding the money.
They add the price.
Very unaffordable for somebody. Yes,
right.
It has become unaffordable for somebody to have access now to the internet. It's very
People
difficult.
in Cameroon don't need 3G. They just need internet, period. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. That's frustrating.
And they have made it such that only the urban areas here are connected. In the rural areas, like my hometown in Dub, you have the internet there, but you cannot open anything with it. You can't access anything. So it is just disgusting. It is just appalling that our government is treating us like that.
Well, I hope that the ideas that we can help spread out there with LRN.FM can help lead to some change, and I know you're part of that. Akko, thank you for calling tonight, and thank you, as always, for taking time out to literally travel 40 kilometers and buy internet service, borrow someone's laptop, just so you can call the show. Thank you, Akko, and we will be in touch. And actually, we should talk about the African fundraiser here in a little bit, because I actually haven't even mentioned it on the airwaves yet, and it's been going for about 2 days.
By now, you may have heard a bit about Bitcoins, but did you know Bitcoins are now over an $8.5 billion market? And did you know that over 65,000 businesses now accept Bitcoins? Listen, if you're already earning Bitcoins or trying to make money in the Bitcoin market, you've got to know BidBit.co. Why? Because BidBit.co is where you can easily receive Bitcoins by selling and auctioning off your own personal items, or promote business products and services for Bitcoins. You heard right. Whether personal or business, you can now buy, sell, and auction your products and services quickly, easily, and securely for Bitcoin at BidBit.co, the first and only marketplace website to offer BidBit Escrow, a proprietary technology which gives buyers and sellers security and peace of mind, because all transactions are protected. Start today. It's free to join, free to post, free to auction, and free to bid at BidBit.co. Buy, sell, bid, or auction everything Bitcoin. That's www.bidbit.co. BidBit.co.
Are you getting squeezed by the economic downturn? Hey, you were doing fine. Then, all of a sudden, you're having a tough time paying your family's credit card bills. Maybe you were downsized or even lost a job, but you still owe 10 grand or more in credit card bills, and you just can't afford the minimum payments anymore. We're here to help. We are the Genesis Debt Partners. We know the secrets to negotiate better terms with your creditors. Make a free 10-minute call right now and learn how we can help you get out of debt. 800-981-7590. If you owe 10 grand or more in credit card debt and you want to learn how you can pay less and get out of debt faster, call right now. 800-981-7590. 800-981-7590. Get out of debt now. 800-981-7590.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road underground market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross may be spending the rest of his life in prison. His family is planning to appeal his conviction, but they need your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Ross needs your help now more than ever. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material.
FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. Just dial toll-free here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, the latest on the showdown between Google and Antiwar.com. We'll get into that. Plus, Johnson has some what could be good news about the flight of the drones for Amazon. So that's all on the way. If we get the chance, your calls, of course, come first here. We've got Skype. You can Skype in at username lrn.fm. We'll go into Skype here in a moment. Also want to tell you about fortgalt.com. It's a pretty interesting opportunity to get out of the United States, even if it's for part of the year. You know, maybe you live in New Hampshire during the warmer months, and then during the months that it's cold in New Hampshire, you can go down to Chile for Fort Galt. It's an interesting project that's been developing in southern Chile, offering affordable accommodations for those looking to establish a small home base in the country. It's not a sprawling valley of vast estates for super wealthy people or anything like that. It basically looks more like a condo building at a ski resort and has some pretty cool common amenities like a makerspace full of tools, a restaurant, and a bunch of places to relax and socialize. There's only room for about 100 people, so don't wait until the place is full. Check it out for yourself at fortgalt.com. That's Fort, F-O-R-T, Galt, G-A-L-T.com. Our toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. We've got Hung Like Jesus on the line via Skype. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys.
Hey. Where are you calling from, by the way?
I'm calling from Georgia.
Welcome, sir. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, I have heard you over the years talking about how the Free State Project lacks diversity as far as people of color, I guess. And I was thinking, you're missing an opportune time now to recruit more people of color up there, whatever those people of color may look like to you, with all the we want to call it with all the murdering of black males going on by police in the country. That would be, to me, it would seem it would be the perfect recruitment tool. Because you can offer a community up there that would surround them with the type of maybe protection that could probably prevent it. And if it did happen, you could draw probably more attention to it quickly.
That's true. I mean, there's no doubt, whatever color someone's skin is, if they love liberty and they're here in New Hampshire, they're in amongst a community of people who care about freedom and who are, in most cases, willing to get active to try to, at the very least, document what the police are doing to people. And I am happy to announce that Keene does actually have its first black guy, from what I understand. And he may be mulatto, but
as far as the Free State Project goes, because there are black people in Keene other than...
But the addition of Danny, who is a relatively new mover here as part of the Free State Project, I think probably increases Keene's black population in general by a decent percentage. I don't know what it is, but it's probably like 10%.
Would it be horribly offensive to say that Danny is blacker than Obama?
I don't know. I probably.
I think he would claim that with pride.
Yeah, he's really cool. He's a really cool guy.
It's just he's mulatto. It's like what do you do? I don't know.
But I think that I don't know what to do to reach out to those communities in general. Though, do you have any suggestions, Hung Like Jesus?
I mean, you have your show. Your show reaches a lot of black people listen to this show.
Sure.
Whether you believe it or not. And all you have to do is just, put that out. That we do offer this. I'm not saying protection, but we offer a certain amount of coverage for it. And if it did happen, like I said, it would probably be it probably did the news quicker because of the protest or whatever would happen if something like that did happen. God forbid if something like that happened up there.
Well, it certainly happens. I mean, that's one of the problems with being black in America, and especially in Cheshire County, at least where we are. I believe Cheshire County has the worst of all 10 counties in New Hampshire as far as the rates of arresting black people for marijuana, specifically young black males.
And it was one of the worst in the country based on some research that I saw.
Is that right? I didn't see that. That's
Danny's already told me that he's seen and experienced racism in the area already.
Really?
Oh yeah. He's just like, it's everywhere here. You know, like that people just look at him different. You know, it's just you know. It's like he's a four-headed alien, you know, like in this area, you know.
Yeah, I hate hearing things like that. I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, why?
And remember, there was the 420 protest in Nashua like 5 years ago, where the cops showed up and arrested the one black kid.
Out of about 75 people who were there, yeah, the one black guy got arrested. So, I mean, it's certainly going to be the case that your troubles will not end for moving to New Hampshire. It seems like New Hampshire has its share of racist cops and racists in general. Racists exist everywhere, right?
They do. I've lived all over the country, and I have to say that the racists seem to be more racist the further north you go.
Is that right?
Yes. And I would say that the racism permeates a little bit further, where in the South, you know, there's definitely some racist people, and they're incredibly racist. I'm not going to deny that, but it's a much smaller segment of the population that is racist. Whereas the further north you go, the more open people are to, you know, throw around the N-word in, reference to a black person, or make some kind of snide remark about somebody that is not like them in every way.
It's sick. Hung, go ahead, Hung.
The way that you people, excuse me for saying it that way, but the way that you're talking about it now, it just it seems so trivial. I mean, you talk about it like it's just a passing fad. But this thing is...
I'm not sure what made you think we were addressing racism as trivial. It's frustrating, the fact that it even exists.
Just the way, I don't know, he sounded kind of almost like he was, revealing a fact that was a revelation of something. And anyway, it's just if you want to see what the people there are made out of, honestly.
Well, wait, hold on, because it is a revelation to us because we don't experience it. That's the thing. Is that if you're in an area that is predominantly white in the way Keene is, and the way Keene is it's 98% white. That's massive. So we don't even see the racism because there aren't even enough black people around here to see that someone else being racist to them, because it's like you don't even generally encounter a black person around here, like, at all.
I mean, I take it very seriously. I hope that Danny can get some video. I mean, if he's just saying he's being looked at funny, that's one thing, but if somebody actually says something to him or threatens him, I hope he gets some video of it. I'll put it right up on the front page at freekeen.com. Let's out the racists, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking to myself, it would be, because I even considered it. And I even love New England, and I love the cold weather. I even considered it, but after reading some things online, and especially in some videos that were posted over on your YouTube page, I'm not sure which one it is, Free Keen, I think, maybe. I wouldn't do it. It's just not, I just couldn't. And I have I couldn't do it.
You couldn't what? Move to New Hampshire? You mean?
No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't be a part of it. It would be just too much for me.
What would be too much?
I mean, because the racism that you're going to get, and then you don't have a community to go to. I mean, people that look like you to go to that would understand.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess you don't necessarily, but I don't think you necessarily need that kind of a community, because you have a community of. So here's the thing. No. I mean, maybe you're going to disagree with me on that, but the difference happens when racism is a form of collectivism, right? So it's when you group people in any kind of way, when you're grouping people by, the color of their skin, their beliefs, any kind of collectivism. Well, when you have a community of people that just don't even acknowledge collectivism, you have your community of people. It's very clear. Danny is plugged right in immediately with a community. So I mean, I don't know. I'd have to talk to him and ask and be like, "Hey, do you feel like I don't even know how I would say it. Like, do you feel like you're lacking out because you don't have any other brothers to hang around with? Like, is that how you feel?" I don't think he'd say like, "No, yeah, I don't have." It's like, "Oh, I don't have anybody to talk to." I feel like he'd probably be like, "I'm happy because I'm with Liberty people.
Well,
and that's what's most important."
I'd like to get him on the show at some point, actually. Hung, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. And, hopefully we can change the situation and make it more attractive for people up here. And I can understand, and thank you again, I can understand where he's coming from. I mean, yes, we'd like for people to feel comfortable right out of the gate here. And I think that the community is welcoming and that it is a very comfortable feeling. But it can be a little daunting looking at it from afar and not really knowing. This is Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Mark of Free Talk Live, and I want to tell you about a new way to be prepared for emergencies. Not just big emergencies, but little ones too. It's a source of backup power, so small that I can put it in my pocket or the glove box in my car, but it's so powerful that it can actually jumpstart a bus if I need it to. Sounds crazy, but it's not. I'm talking about a breakthrough in portable power technology called the Pocket Power Plus. If you get stranded in an airport, in your car, or you just want to go off the grid for a while, the Pocket Power Plus becomes your own personal mini power plant. Run pretty much any kind of electronic device for hours, even days if you need to. The Pocket Power Plus can also deliver an enormous supply of on-demand power that can jumpstart almost any vehicle, even the coldest winter days. Comes with free jumper cables and an accessory pack. Best part, my listeners can now get Pocket Power Plus for half price by going to pocketpowerplus9.com. That's pocketpowerplus9.com. Use coupon code FTL to save even more. Go to pocketpowerplus9.com, pocketpowerplus9.com, coupon code FTL.
So who else will you meet at the Get Prepared Expo? For starters, from Republic Broadcasting, John Moore and John Statmiller. From GCN, Aaron and Brad Dakins, Joyce Riley, and me, Vincent Finelli. Joining us are the instructors whom you've learned to trust. Surgeon of the Year, Dr. Norman Shealy. Engineer, Matt Stein. The real Fox Mulder of the X-Files, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. Author and analyst, Captain John Reagan. Your counterterrorist from Central America, Mike Ma. Dental center owner and my dentist, Dr. Howard Shane. Radiation instructor, Craig Douglas. Author and survivalist, Rich Sheben. Author, Judy Dollarhite. Cancer center owner from Mexico, Dr. Patrick Vickers. Bug out expert and pilot, Captain Bill Sermo. Beekeeper, Jeff Maddox. Seedsman, Mike Knox. Author, Gayla Pruitt. Author, Harry Cooper. Food expert, Joe Acapinti. And Bill Whaley, the junk man. March 27, 28, and 29. GetPreparedExpo.com, the largest preparedness and survival expo in the USA.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. You can help by joining the AMP program for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com and getting perks. That's amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. LRN.FM needs your help getting our satellite signal back on in Africa. Our satellite provider had us on at no charge from 2012 through February of this year when they pulled the channel off the air. Now we're trying to raise $22,000 to continue reaching people with the message of liberty in places where it's needed most. Please visit our Indiegogo fundraiser at africa.lrn.fm. Give what you can and share the link with your friends. africa.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free to bring up whatever you want. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Join us online. Go to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we share with you there, totally free. Daryl, where can people find more of your work?
They can find written Daryl at fpp.cc, and they can find the audio Daryl, audio not on Free Talk Live, at fppradio.com. Among the audio that they will find, there's a daily 5-minute newscast. There is a thrice weekly 30-minute podcast. And then there's a weekly 5-minute sort of news and commentary podcast that I do. And I've been doing that one for about almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in August, I believe.
Wow. You do great work, and all of that stuff's downloadable for free, but folks can support you how?
Fans.fppradio.com.
For how much?
As little as $3 per month using American U.S. dollar currency through PayPal, or any amount of Bitcoin using the recurring payment option that I have.
Do you have anyone signed up for that yet?
I do. I have
cool.
one person right now that is signed up through the Coinbase.
I'm looking forward to actually implementing that for hopefully the AMP program coming up here sometime in this year. So we'll tell you more about that as time goes on. Coming up, the Amazon FAA trials for drone use. That sounds like some good news. And also the latest on Antiwar.com versus Google. Daryl, you've got that story. We'll get into it here. But I did say I was going to talk about the satellite fundraiser that is going on right now. I started it 2 days ago, and I've been tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it over the last few months. Initially, it was a fundraiser to get on satellite over Europe, but we lost our satellite signal over Africa that we'd been given for free, basically, by our satellite provider. So for those that don't know, LRN.FM is a radio network that I program. Daryl, actually, all of your audio programs air on LRN.FM.
Yes, they do.
As well as a bunch of other great shows from all across the world and around the United States, and especially New Hampshire. There are several shows that are originating from New Hampshire. And it's I would have to say it's a fairly decent little Liberty radio network. I mean, there are some other ones out there.
I would dare say that that LRN is the largest of the Liberty radio networks.
It's not larger than the kook networks out there, but I don't think people should.
No. I said the Liberty radio networks,
but
not the kooky radio networks.
I want to make it clear. I separate them into two categories. There's the kook networks, which masquerade as though they're liberty-oriented, but many of them are just a bunch of crazy people with, really whacked-out beliefs.
The aliens are responsible for 9/11.
That kind of thing. Chemtrails and, all kinds of paranoid conspiracy theory stuff. One of the things I wanted to do when I created LRN was to stay away from conspiracy people. So anytime somebody pitches me a show, I just had somebody pitch me a show, some kind of, extraterrestrial style Art Bell kind of show. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to pass on this. Thanks,
Invisible spy planes are spraying fluoride onto our GMOs.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I don't really want on the network. Now, every now and then Ernie Hancock will talk about 9/11 or something like that. I'm like, all right, if it's once in a while that a host covers some kind of topic like that, I'm not going to pull their show because of that. But if it's a fairly constant level of coverage, then that's not okay with me. So LRN.FM was on in Africa ever since 2012, and this February we lost our African signal. And basically what happened was they claim they forgot we were there. I don't think that's true. I think what actually happened was they launched this new satellite over Africa called Amos 5. The satellite provider came to me because I was already buying time. We're on over North and Central America on free-to-air satellite there. And so I was already a customer. So they came to me and said, hey, we'd like to give you a free 2-month sort of a trial on this new satellite. And, of course, I'm like, sure, that'd be great. I'd love to have LRN on in Africa where people can tune in with a cheap receiver and a cheap dish and, listen as long as they want for no monthly cost. And so I said yes, and they put us on, and I expected I would be off after 2 months. Turns out we were on for almost 3 years until they finally decided to pull us off. And he claimed, my sales guy there claims that they forgot about us. And I said to him, I don't know, man, I thought maybe you were doing it because you wanted your satellite to have channels on it. Because the idea is, well, we've just launched this satellite. There's nothing there.
Right.
So, I'm sure they launched with a few services, but there's very, very little there when the satellite gets up in the sky. So the challenge that these, resellers have, essentially, they don't own the satellite. They buy space on the satellite, and then they resell it to TV and radio channels. And so I said to him, look, I figured you guys were just using us as fill, basically, just sort of putting something there in their what they call a MUX in satellite world. A MUX is a group of channels that's sort of uploaded in one data stream to the satellite. And so I figured, well, if you're trying to sell these channels to people, you want them to look at the existing channel list and say, oh, there's this channel and that channel. I want to be there. So, if they're trying to sell satellite space and there's no channels up there, why the hell would anyone want to be there?
Right. So it's akin to like a new cable provider coming out and trying to get TV stations on board. Well, how many stations do you have right now? We've got 2.
We've got PBS and ABC.
So screw you. I'm not going to be on your cable thing with 2 channels.
Yeah, you should pay them
40. Okay, yeah, I'll join in on this with 40 because then they're going to find me.
And so I'm not upset or anything like that. I knew the day would come, right, that the free ride was going to end, and it did. So now, if we want to get back on that satellite over Africa, it's going to cost hundreds of dollars per month. And I haven't really negotiated the final price of what that will be, but I do have the high end of what it will be. And so I put together an Indiegogo fundraiser at africa.lrn.fm that, kind of goes over the history of what has happened there, and it introduces Akko, who we heard from earlier tonight, and kind of tells his story about how, he's helped people tune into to LRN.FM, and that they're talking about our ideas out there, which I think is fantastic.
Do you create like an Africa-specific feed and have Africa-specific ads?
No, we can't do that.
Really?
We could, in theory, do that, but it would require a lot more hardware and things like that.
It would basically require another computer.
It would require another computer running audio, and I'd have to update each computer separately.
And there's hundreds of dollars a month at stake. I was just
but it's not a money-making operation, right? Like LRN.
No, I'm talking about having it being a break-even operation. Is that even
It's
possible?
not that either.
Is that even possible?
I don't think so. At least not at this point in its operation. It's essentially an outreach project for the ideas of liberty. And there's not a market in Africa either, unless we were to hit South Africa or something like that, where there's actually some money. But what are we going to advertise to them?
Hey,
they don't even have internet access.
I think it'd be kind of cool if somehow like Akko and friends were able to submit ads and have their own ads on, for their own business ideas going on.
Well, what could be done?
That'd be
See,
cool.
the thing with LRN.FM, Johnson, is it was created for 2 purposes. One is to introduce people who know about Show A, Free Talk Live, to Show B, C, D, and Q. There's a bunch of shows on there, and not everybody knows what all's available. So this is kind of a way to look and see what different shows there are.
Also, wait, let me interject for a second. Also, the other thing that could happen is that there's a lot of stuff that's not going on the Liberty Radio Network overnight. Am I correct? Like, there's not a lot of shows from like 1 a.m. on.
There's actually quite a few shows.
They're live?
There's a live show from 1 to 3 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a live
but
show,
like
but there's also a bunch of podcasts.
4 to like early in the morning, is kind of prime
That's
real
the
estate
time where we run various different podcasts on LRN.
And then there's also from 6 to 9 the refeed of Free Talk Live.
Well, that's not important. We could
My
replace
thought
that
is,
if we
how
wanted
cool
to.
would it be if somehow you figure out a way and you have like content that's playing during daylight hours in Africa?
Well, we do have content playing. You're talking about
I'm talking about
African-based
content.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. We don't have the networking capability to know what that content would be right
certainly
now.
there wouldn't be a live
Akko's-
show. That'd be next to impossible.
Akko's to the point of wanting to launch a blog, I think, but he doesn't have a studio. There's none of those. None of those things exist.
Yeah.
And the media is very, very restricted there as well, according to what Akko tells us. So I don't know how easy it would be to just open up a studio somewhere and have people do things. I wouldn't be opposed, Johnson, to having international programs. We've had them in the past. We had one from Australia in the past.
Had a couple of Canadian shows, I think.
We did, and then another guy in Europe as well. So if somebody in Africa wants to put together a show and it's liberty oriented, I'll put them on the air.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
But the other purpose for the network was to create a feed that could be available for pirate radio stations,
right?
Which could also that could do what you're talking about.
Right.
So if somebody wanted to, whether they're in Africa or in New York City, they could pull down the feed from LRN.FM, invest in some hardware, and then essentially switch during the commercials to their local commercials that they could then run to sponsor the shows in whatever way they want. Actually, in theory, make money off of it, but a lot of this activism stuff isn't really a very profitable enterprise. So if you want to help contribute, we're looking to raise $22,000 to get back on in Africa. That covers 3 years of satellite 24/7 over a big swath of Africa. And you can contribute by going to africa.lrn.fm. That's africa.lrn.fm. There's a lot more Free Talk Live coming up.
Shiny badges on your jacket. Shiny badges.
This is Davi Barker from ShinyBadges.com, and I just want to personally apologize for airing a jingle week after week, month after month, that turned out to be such an infectious brainworm. So to make it up to you, I'm offering a free gift. The next time you make a purchase at ShinyBadges.com, write worms in the transaction comments, and I'll send you something weird.
In a trial by jury, the primary function of a juror is not to dispense punishment to the accused. It is to protect your fellow citizens from being unjustly deprived of their life, liberty, or property. As a juror, you can say no to unjust laws and prevent government abuses of power by refusing to convict. Legislative, executive, judicial. The fourth branch of government is we the people. Find out more from the Fully Informed Jury Association at fija.org.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Online at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan with your Liberty Beat for Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Gold opened today at $1,165, down $10. Silver opened at $15.92, down 7 cents. And Bitcoin is trading around $259.50. Today's Bitcoin price is brought to you by ExpressCoin, the fastest, most reliable way to buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin today at expresscoin.com. In the news, officials with the U.S. government have announced they cannot find more than $500 million worth of U.S. military aid given to Yemen. The Pentagon admitted to losing the whereabouts of small arms, ammunition, night vision goggles, patrol boats, vehicles, and other equipment provided by the U.S. Members of Congress have been attending closed-door meetings with military officials in an attempt to hold someone accountable. The Pentagon has suspended all shipments to Yemen. According to a review of federal data, the Obama administration has set a new record for censoring files or blocking access under the U.S. Freedom of Information Act. The Associated Press studied requests to 100 federal agencies during 2014. They found an administration that takes long periods of time to respond to requests and often claimed no records existed or refused to release records until they were challenged in court. The U.S. government spent about $28 million on lawyers' fees to keep records secret. Nearly 40% of all requests were denied. Protesters with the Blockupy Alliance battled with riot police early Wednesday in Frankfurt, Germany, at the opening of a new headquarters for the European Central Bank. An estimated 7,000 people rallied and fought with the police, who threw tear gas and fired a water cannon. Around 550 protesters were detained. 94 police officers were injured by stones, and 7 police cars were set on fire. Support for Liberty Beat comes from CoinArch, offering innovative trading solutions for Bitcoin. Do more than just buy and sell Bitcoin. Use long and short positions to profit in rising and falling markets and boost your returns through leverage. Visit coinarch.com and sign up using coupon code MAX and get free brokerage for the first 7 days. Looking to promote your business or cause to tens of thousands of loyal listeners? Well, for a limited time only, the Liberty Beat is offering you the chance to say big while spreading your message. It's simple. Just sign up for 3 months of advertising and get your 4th month free. Don't miss out on this unique opportunity. Just visit thelibertybeat.com/advertise and use coupon code GCN in the Describe Your Company section. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. On Wednesday, a group of parents of the 43 missing Mexican students appeared in Houston as part of a tour across the United States. Protesters gathered with the families outside of Houston's Mexican consulate, holding signs and chanting. The protest was in solidarity with the families who have not seen their children since they went missing in September of last year. The parents are planning to travel to New York on April 28th to ask the United Nations to investigate the human rights violations in Mexico. Law enforcement and government officials have been suspected of working with local gangs to murder the students. Researchers in Brazil have published a long-term study in the Lancet Global Health Journal that claims breastfed babies are more likely to turn into well-educated and higher-learning adults. The researchers from Brazil's Federal University of Pelotas followed close to 6,000 babies from birth into their 30s. Around 3,500 of the participants volunteered to be interviewed and take IQ tests. All of the babies who had been breastfed were of higher intelligence, had spent more time in school, and earned higher wages. The Liberty Beat is sponsored by Midas Resources Incorporated, helping clients convert their paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver. Get their 10 Reasons book free by calling 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237. Support also comes from the Texas Bitcoin Conference. Hear from speakers like Charlie Shrem, Dr. Robert Murphy, Vitalik Buterin, and Catherine Bleich, March 28th and 29th at ACL Live at the Moody Theater. Tickets on sale now at TexasBitcoinConference.com. Use coupon code LibertyBeat for $25 off your ticket. That's coupon code LibertyBeat. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Remember to check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan reporting, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
An unpopular police officer thinks about committing a racially motivated offense for a little support. A middle-aged man is having the best snacks of his life, and a housefly drops everything to go stand on a watermelon slice. This is the Onion Week in Review. Noting the youth center's ping-pong table and array of DVDs and Blu-rays, local youth minister Mark Kindler told reporters this week that his church's new rec room has everything a teen could want. The youth pastor revealed that the basement facility's many teen-friendly amenities include a new Wii U console, an iPod dock for the teens to play any music they like, and some comfortable recliners for those who just want to relax or do their homework after school.
We've really gone out of our way to give the rec room a laid-back atmosphere. It's stocked with snacks, but sometimes at the end of the week, we'll spring for some pizza. Honestly, I wish I had a place like this when I was their age.
In other news, increased violence leads the State Department to issue an advisory for Americans traveling to 1861, and an elderly lobbyist is always droning on about how little legislation used to cost in his day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back to Free Talk Live. We'll take your calls toll-free about whatever you want to discuss. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us online. Just drop on by freetalklive.com, and you can, of course, enjoy all the features there totally free. A lot of those other talk show hosts in the business of talk radio, they want to charge you for their websites. Ours, we give it away. And so go and enjoy. freetalklive.com. You got Ian Johnson and Daryl in the studio here tonight. And Daryl, you wanted to talk about this situation between Antiwar.com and also Google, which I don't
I feel like they were talking about it last night, but I'm not seeing it in their list of topics. So this may be the first time it has been broached. Maybe it was mentioned last night and it just didn't make it into the topics list. But tell me, what's been happening there?
So on Wednesday, the 18th day of March in 2015, Google AdSense suspended Antiwar.com's account and said, we will no longer deliver ads to your website because you have a web page that has been posted for 11 years that shows abuses done by American soldiers in Iraq to Iraqi detainees at Abu Ghraib. So they posted the story Wednesday saying, here's the letter we got from Google, and this is the site, or rather, this is the page on the site. It's been there for 11 years. It has received over 2 million hits, and now Google wants it gone. Well, yesterday, they thought they had made some headway. There was a story that came out from Gawker, and somehow because of that, it allowed the lines of communication to open up between Google and Antiwar.com. Antiwar.com, of course, appealed the decision, and initially they thought that everything was hunky-dory. Google contacted Antiwar.com, said that they had given in. They were restoring ad service to Antiwar.com. However...
Whoa. Did you actually read the letter that Google sent to them? Because I saw that earlier.
I've read the two that they made public. The one from Thursday, or rather the one from Wednesday and the one from today.
What about the one where Google reaches out and they say, oh, we saw our media division or whatever, saw this
I
news.
have not seen that letter.
So that letter, just because I did read it, I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I did read it, and I just wanted to kind of correct what you were saying. Google
I'm reading what's in the blog post from today from Antiwar.com.
Right. I don't know when this post came out, or I don't even remember where I saw it, but someone from Antiwar had posted it. I saw it on Facebook. And anyway, the letter essentially said, look, we saw this. We're sorry that this happened so quickly. It was very apologetic from Google to Antiwar, saying, we shouldn't have pulled your account so quickly. Apparently, there's some sort of 72-hour time window that
and an appeals process.
Yeah, and
if you appeal, they want you to snail mail the appeal.
Really? It's ridiculous.
Also kind of interesting that it's like this is all coming as, Washington's getting ready to reinvade Iraq.
Yes.
So, anyway, the Google guy who wrote them, and the name was redacted apparently, but whoever it was that wrote this letter was very apologetic, but at the same time, it wasn't just like, oh, we were wrong, we'll reinstate your services. No, they said that, look, if you pull the Google ads from this one page, will reinstate your services. So the page on which you had said it has been around for 11 years, it had these pictures from Abu Ghraib and the abuse of the detainees there. Google said, you got to remove our ads from that page, then we'll go ahead and reinstate you. So then what apparently happened was the update from today where they had done that, and then Google came back with another page.
Yes. So this morning, Google contacted Antiwar.com again about an article related to the Ukraine situation. So the blog post here from Antiwar.com says, Antiwar.com has no intention of allowing Google to dictate our content. We are looking into alternate sources of advertising and will not likely be working with Google AdSense in the future.
Now, just to be clear, I don't agree with Google's policy here, but they're not dictating their content.
Right.
The claim here from Eric Garris over at Antiwar.com is false. Eric Garris says, this morning they contacted us demanding that we remove this article. And then when he says this article, he links, and he's referring to the Ukraine article you're referring to. And in that article, by the way, there's a picture of a stack of bodies. So there's not actually any violence in the picture. There's the results of violence in the picture, dead bodies. But all that aside, later in Garris's post, he actually posts the actual letter that was sent by Google, where it doesn't say you have to take down the article, which is what he says. He says they contacted us demanding we remove this article. They didn't demand they remove the article. They only demanded that they remove their advertising from that page.
Well, it kind of does sound like a demand when it's like, if this article stays around and our advertisements are on it, you're not getting paid.
But that's not what was said. It wasn't if this article stays around.
Well,
it's if you continue to have Google AdWords on this page.
We're not paying you for this content.
Right. And look, I'm saying I don't agree with Google's policy here. I think they should leave antiwar.com alone. But all that said, they didn't threaten, it wasn't you either remove this article or else. It was you remove our content from this article. And so for Antiwar to claim they were told they had to remove the article is dishonest. That's not what happened.
Right. But at the same time, and I'm just going to defend Eric Garris here for a second, the way they are wording it, and this is a new article from what they initially said, this is the problem. Okay. Now they're saying, and this is the problem.
And this, right.
And tomorrow they could say, and
one.
this, and this. And pretty soon it's going to be every post on antiwar.com.
Because a lot of them have.
Because every single one of them, if it doesn't have a picture, it tells you about a drone strike or it mentions that somebody got killed. So where do you draw the line on depictions of violence or talking about violence?
There's no doubt Google is effing with anti-war, and I don't appreciate what they're doing here. I think that it is...
I think it's evil.
I think it's very chilling on free speech, and that is evil.
I think it's evil, yeah.
And Google's motto, what you're referencing there is Google's motto, which is...
Don't be evil.
Yeah.
So they forgot how to not be evil.
They are clearly violating that, and as apologetic as their first email
I just think that Larry Page doesn't know as well as Sergey Brin how to not be evil.
Well, I don't know if either of them were involved in this, but some middle manager.
Larry Page is the new CEO of Google, took over for Sergey Brin.
I doubt this escalated to CEO level, but nonetheless, it certainly is awful what they're doing here, and it's certainly chilling on free speech.
I don't necessarily think that it was direct CEO involvement, but I guess sort of what I'm suggesting is that a lot of things have happened that have been really messed up and dumb on the part of Google's behalf since Larry Page took over.
Okay.
Essentially the company has instated a bunch of policies that are just meant to tighten up Google and make them more money and do all this stuff, but they've been doing things that's just like, wow, they're just angering a lot of people. I mean, like, the shutting down of Waze, the shutting down of Google Reader, the shutting down of their FeedBurner. Like, there's all these different things that they've been.
They haven't shut down FeedBurner.
They talked about it.
Well, they're still up.
Yeah, okay, so it's still up, sorry. But that's, one, people have been worried about Google Voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's certain things now people are like, this service that, has had previously been, they introduce it and get people into sort of a need situation where they're running on that service. They're relying on that service.
What's
it's like, now,
the onion thing about Google, we can shut down your entire internet, bow before Google.
I'll see if I can pull that one up.
So one thing that's interesting about this is Antiwar.com has a couple of different ways to contact Google. One of them, of course, is snail mail, and they also have a telephone number.
Which is very hard to find.
I tried calling the telephone number, went through about 30 seconds of voice prompts,
hello,
and then got told all of our voice attendants are busy. It will be a while before they answer your call.
You've reached the Google call center. We're here in Ireland because that's where their Google call center is located.
Did you miss what he said there? He got hung up on.
Oh, that's interesting.
They said there was too many calls on the line, and then click, more coming up.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, housing, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power. A gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order a copy today. It's critical that the public be made aware of the system. Call and order your copy today at 1-800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
Are you looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, do some Robin Hooding, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. This year's keynote speeches and panels will be announced via the Keenvention blog and Facebook, so stay tuned there for the latest. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this October 30th through November 1st. Tickets are available now at a special early bird price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. That $50 price only lasts through the end of June, so don't delay. Reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more and look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is Mark of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the economic engine that powers our country. With a printing press tethered to Washington bureaucrats and New York central bankers, how can we trust paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, or go to gold.freetalklive.com. Again, 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free to share whatever you want with us here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, Ian here.
And Johnson.
And Daryl.
And don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Plus, you can join Mark and I in real life over at the Moody Theater in downtown Austin, Texas, coming up in just about a week, March 28th and 29th. It's the second annual Texas Bitcoin Conference. Now, if you've never been to a Bitcoin conference before, the Texas Bitcoin Conference is a great conference. We were there last year, broadcasting live. We'll be there again this year. Great speakers are lined up like George Gilder, Sambala Nair, David Johnston, Robert Murphy, Anthony Diorio, Charlie Shrem, Jason King, and more. Go to TexasBitcoinConference.com. You can get a full list of speakers there. Plus, the Texas Bitcoin Conference also will be hosting the second $1 million Bitcoin 2.0 hackathon. The hackathon last year, they came out with some really cool ideas that have, in some cases, parlayed into real, like, things that are happening in the Bitcoin world, like storage.
So, hold on. Let me interject here. Sorry, real quick. But Charlie Shrem, you mentioned, is he going to be there?
He is not yet in prison. He is going to apparently be at this conference. I don't know if he's going to be there physically or if he's going to be there like via some sort of video link, because I've heard he's on house arrest. Okay. So I don't know what his physical status will be, but he will not be in a cage, at least.
I feel like Roger
his date for reporting is, I believe, today.
I believe it's somehow been continued. There was a blog post from him on his website about going to jail recently.
I feel like Roger Ver will somehow be selling like sending like telepresence robots to all the Bitcoin luminaries.
Well, actually, if you go to Charlie Shrem's blog, you can see he's on one of those telepresence robots at some sort of conference because he was on house arrest. Right. So he's actually done that. So we'll look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a lot of fun as usual. TexasBitcoinConference.com. Use code FTL and you'll save $25 on the already very affordable price, which is $150 admission. Knock $25 off by using code FTL. TexasBitcoinConference.com, March 28th and 29th. We will see you there. So, Daryl, we were talking about Antiwar.com and Google. Google coming in out of nowhere after 11 years that a page has been up on Antiwar.com with some pictures on it of the Abu Ghraib abuses from, what apparently was over a decade ago. It's hard to even...
2004.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking that it's been that long since that information came out. But the pictures have been up on the site. The Google AdWords has been up on the site or is it AdSense? Google's ads are up on this, or they were up on the site for probably a good portion of those 11 years. And now all of a sudden, it becomes a problem.
Yes.
And they send a notice saying, all right, well, we're pulling your advertising. So they violated their own rules. Now, of course, an advocate of, certain advocates of contract will say, well, Antiwar, you signed the agreement here.
It's just funny. AdSense actually started very initially in June of 2003. So essentially this page is only maybe a year old. Like this page started a year after AdSense started, essentially, if it's 11 years old, right? I mean, so
sounds right.
Yeah,
not even.
I'll grant you that, yes, Antiwar.com, someone there clicked on the I agree to the terms of service, blah, 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 blah. But the way they have their policies written, they are so vague. So they list here the two sections of policy that were violated.
Okay.
One is titled Violence/Gore, and the other one simply titled Violence. Violence/Gore. As stated in our program policies, AdSense publishers are not permitted to place Google ads on pages with violent or disturbing content, including sites with gory text or images. For more information on this policy, please visit our help center. And then there's a link. Violence. As
hold
stated
on,
in our...
before you go into violence. Is a stack of bodies gore?
Maybe it's disturbing content.
Oh, the word disturbing was in there as on its own?
The violent or disturbing content.
Wow, yeah, that is pretty
And then they say,
loose.
including sites with gory text or images.
Okay.
But one thing that's interesting, and I'll throw this out before reading the almost as vague definition of just violence. There are things much more violent that are on YouTube that is supported through
by
Google Ads.
Yes.
So they are... It's not through AdSense, but it's through Google Ads.
Hold on. Not all YouTube videos are supported by ads. You have to turn that on as a YouTube video creator.
You do. But
they're still putting ads on the site. Whether you're monetizing the ads or not is another question. They'll still run ads even if you don't turn it.
You can go through YouTube and not get an ad. If the content creator hasn't turned on ads, you won't get ads on that channel.
Really?
Yeah.
YouTube isn't putting their own ads on videos just for the hell of it?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'd be surprised if they're not.
They share the revenue with the people who want the ads on their videos.
No, I understand that for the people that opt in.
Right.
But what you're telling me is that if I don't opt in, that Google won't put ads on the video?
I'm not 100%, but it was that way for a very, very long time. I don't know if it still is, but
the way they're doing now, if they determine that anything within the video is copyrighted material, they will automatically throw ads on there and then give the ad revenue to the owner of the copyright.
Really?
Right.
So
that's true.
That there are things that are much more violent than the photos that were posted on antiwar.com that are on YouTube.
Absolutely.
There are photos and video that are much more violent than this that are on other news outlets. You know, there was a question, I forget who posed it, but they said, would Google do the same to CNN or Fox News?
Good question.
Or a mainstream newspaper that was using Google ads for ad revenue? And I would suspect that they would not.
I suspect you're right about that.
So the definition...
And they're getting pushback, by the way, on this. There are people who have been contacting Google, even though, Daryl, you had trouble getting through on the phone lines. Apparently, you know, they did take note that people are talking about this.
I might find a carrier pigeon and try using that. Maybe it'll work. It's almost as reliable as the post office. So let me read the definition here of violence.
Okay.
They say, as stated in our program policies, AdSense publishers are not permitted to place Google ads on pages with violent content. This includes sites with content related to breaking bones, getting hit by trains or cars, or people receiving serious injuries. And again, they link over to the Help Center.
Well, being dead is a very serious injury.
Now, does the Help Center have more detailed description about what they consider to be violence? Because none of those things are in the picture of the dead bodies.
Right, but disturbing.
Well, those people received a very serious injury.
Unless they what?
I said that one of the things he covered was people who have received very serious injuries, and dead people have definitely received a very serious injury.
That's true.
Well, no, this says people receiving.
Right.
So if you show somebody getting, you know, like a crowbar shoved through their head.
Sure.
That's what, yeah, right. When I hear violence, I think of the act of violence, not the remnants of the violence or what is left over afterwards.
Right, but basically the two words, disturbing content, is a catch-all for anything.
Yeah, that's huge.
So I'm on the help desk now, and it's not really...
Well, then I hope Google would immediately pull its ads from any and every politician's website, because those are all full of disturbing content.
Ooh, they have acceptable versus not acceptable.
Great. We'll do a little comparison here in a moment. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. There's more coming up on Free Talk Live.
By now, you may have heard a bit about Bitcoins. But did you know Bitcoins are now over an $8.5 billion market? And did you know that over 65,000 businesses now accept Bitcoins? Listen, if you're already earning Bitcoins or trying to make money in the Bitcoin market, you've got to know BidBit.co. Why? Because BidBit.co is where you can easily receive Bitcoins by selling and auctioning off your own personal items or promote business products and services for Bitcoins. You heard right. Whether personal or business, you can now buy, sell, and auction your products and services quickly, easily, and securely for Bitcoin at BidBit.co, the first and only marketplace website to offer BidBit Escrow, a proprietary technology which gives buyers and sellers security and peace of mind because all transactions are protected. Start today. It's free to join, free to post, free to auction, and free to bid at BidBit.co. Buy, sell, bid, or auction everything Bitcoin. That's www.bidbit.co. BidBit.co.
Free Talk Live's recent Bitcoin sale was a big success, so we decided to extend the 50% discount through April 17th.
Free Talk Live was the first ad venue in the world to accept Bitcoins for ads. We love the concept of a value-based digital currency that allows people to actually control their own money.
We introduced Roger Ver,
Bitcoin Jesus,
to Bitcoins, and here's what he said.
Free Talk Live is the premier voice for the peace and liberty Bitcoin will bring to the world. By broadcasting this message since 2011, Free Talk Live has been instrumental in creating the widespread adoption that we have today.
If you need some advertising for your business, website, or organization, and you want to save half off, send me an email right now, mark@freetalklive.com.
This is your chance to save 50% on national radio and podcast ads. Just pay with Bitcoin. Email mark@freetalklive.com. That's mark@freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website or idea, email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Publicists everywhere agreed this week that the nation's celebrities are in dire need of more fame, stressing that all 6 billion of the world's populace should know every U.S. celebrity by name and face by now. Publicists are calling for an emergency influx of buzz, heat, press, and word of mouth to be administered to the nation's celebrities immediately in order to prevent crucial fame levels from becoming dangerously low. Novelist Edward Milligan told reporters this week that in his new book, By the Water's Edge, he has fleshed out in meticulous detail his own huge and stunningly shitty world. Using in-depth research and the power of his own imagination, Milligan was able to conjure out of thin air every hackneyed character, trite street name, and horseshit backstory in the fictional town of Connors Cove. The complete hack proudly said he has created a universe that readers will feel they can actually reach out and touch. Sources say the prolific writer has not yet been punched repeatedly in the face. In other news, McDonald's opens a new senior citizen play place.
This is the Onion News Network.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Share your thoughts with us here. Should Google be pulling Antiwar's AdSense account? Should Antiwar no longer be able to make money by, it's a fairly popular website, so a lot of people see the Google ads that are being run there. But now Google is pulling out, and they had said for a moment that they were going to come back, but then they found another article that they found offensive with a picture they don't like. And now they're saying, well, you got to pull our ads down from that article, or else we're going to continue not offering you our service anymore. And obviously, Google isn't obligated to offer anyone a service, and they certainly can set whatever rules they want to. But there's a competitive market to some extent out there. I don't know what the hell else there is competing with Google, but the people over at Antiwar did say they've been offered some other options as far as possible ad revenue for the site. But all that said, Google is the behemoth in that zone, right? Like they're the number one, and it hurts when you're making money from Google. They were getting a fairly decent check on a monthly basis.
The article on Gawker that I saw said thousands
per month. And so when that just disappears, and we know that Antiwar.com has been having financial difficulties over the last few years, that's why they had to end Antiwar Radio. They got rid of Scott Horton, who is now doing his own show. He's basically still doing the same show. It's just now called The Scott Horton Show, still interviewing the same guests and doing the same spiel, which is great.
Basically, after it became known that the FBI was investigating Antiwar.com.
That's right, yeah.
That's when the financial troubles started.
Some of their big donors got spooked, I guess, by that. And hello, you didn't think that Antiwar.com was being investigated? I just newsflash: if you're in the liberty movement and you're relatively high profile, there's a good chance some federal agent is looking into you.
Right.
So what you were sharing with us a moment ago, Daryl, is the definition that Google has on their help desk about what is considered to be violence/gore. And that's what they're claiming was violating their policies over at Antiwar when they pulled Antiwar's account because of an 11-year-old page that had not changed, since 11 years ago. All of a sudden now Google says, hey, you've got a problem with this. And then they found another page they had a problem with after Antiwar fixed the supposed problems with the first page. And I think you're right, Daryl, that they can certainly just keep finding these issues and make it so they can never come back.
Right. So on the help desk, there's a big header, violent content. What's this policy? Our program policies don't allow Google ads to be placed on content that contains graphic or gory images, such as bloodshed, fight scenes, and gruesome or freak accidents.
Okay, all right.
Publishers are responsible for every page on which their ad code appears, and for screening any text, images, videos, or other media which will appear on a page with Google Ads. Examples: acceptable, boxing or martial arts sites.
Why is that okay?
Not acceptable. I don't know, because in the policy it says you can't have fight scenes or bloodshed, but you can have boxing and martial arts. Not acceptable.
They're licensed. It's okay.
Breaking bones, getting hit by trains or cars.
Unless it's a boxing scene. You can break a bone there, right?
Probably. Yeah. Receiving other serious injuries. Sites devoted to fight videos. Sites with gory videos or images. So you can have a boxing site, but it can't be devoted to fight videos of boxing?
It's very confusing.
Right, so they write this in a way. Yeah. They write it in a way to where nobody knows what the policy means,
and so it can arbitrarily be enforced.
They can arbitrarily enforce it at their whim, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Give me more. I want more comparisons.
That's all they have under there. Let me.
That was under violence.
That was under violent. Okay. Let me go down to the weapons policy. Examples: acceptable.
All government sites.
Sites that are primarily about sport or hunting. Sites that sell antique guns, non-working replicas,
the military,
emergency flares, paintball guns, scopes, or holsters.
Okay.
Sites located outside of the United States that sell airsoft guns. Sites
These are
located,
all acceptable.
Yes.
Okay.
Sites located in the United States that sell airsoft guns and that have appropriate disclaimer on the landing page. Sites which contain content regarding archery or bow hunting. Sites that sell collectible knives, daggers, swords, cutlery, chef knives, or sporting equipment. Not acceptable. Sites that sell firearms, ammunition, and gun accessories. Sites that catalog individual firearms. Sites that drive traffic to firearm sales.
So Google's basically anti-gun, essentially, unless it's for hunting or trap shooting or something.
Right. Sites in the U.S. that sell airsoft guns and do not have the appropriate disclaimer on the landing page.
Man.
Sites
Why don't we just
that
rename
sell
Google?
Knives or weapons with an intent for violent use. Sites that teach bomb or other explosive making or give instructions on how to harm or kill.
What's weird about this is that this is not the type of thing that Google would typically do if you understand Google.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
because it sounds like it's something they would do.
No, what it sounds like to me is I wonder if they haven't somehow been forced into this position, because Google wants to solve everything algorithmically. They don't want people involved at all. At all. They want a program to do all this stuff. This is something that's very human involved. And so I wonder if there isn't somehow regulations or force that have involved them to say that has somehow made it so that, like, there's laws that if you're advertising and it involves firearms, you could get slapped with a lawsuit, and that's happening over and over again.
That's a good question. I know that, in a lot of corporate agreements, they always have some sort of a disclaimer or some kind of a line like, and you must obey all federal and local and state laws, and your content must not advocate the violation of those laws.
Right.
And so that's that big loophole where, anything that, like there's a lot of stuff we talk about civil disobedience on Free Talk Live.
Even a container of bleach says you must use this in accordance with all state and federal laws.
Yeah, but what my point is that as a corporation, right, they are governed by some state government. And so therefore, as a corporation, part of being a good little corporation is making sure all the people who do business with the corporation are also obeying those same state laws. So I would say there's probably not a specific law that is targeting Google.
I'm not saying
like
one specific law. I'm saying thousands.
I think you're right. It's just the whole system of the whole corporate system, basically. It forces compliance in these matters.
I would bet that a lot of these particular things is that Google had to form a department that it didn't want to form, and that people are enforcing things, and there's discretion, but it's the law, but it's like one of these things because the law itself is written horribly everywhere.
So here's something interesting under drugs. Acceptable. Okay. Sites that sell herbal plants that can be used as hallucinogens but are not promoting them for their drug-related use. Note, these plants are legal to purchase as long as they are not eaten, brewed, or smoked.
So this sounds also like an example, and this is what I've seen out of Google a lot, is that where they will follow something only as far as they're forced to by the law.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if they can push it right up against the limit, they do that. It's sort of like, for example, Google's one of the only companies that so, like, for example, NSA goes to AT&T and says, we need your data so that we can, have our anti-terrorist program, right? And every time we have a data request, because of we're investigating someone, just fork over the data. And AT&T goes, sure, let's give you, in fact, let's just have you set up some computers in our data centers so we don't even have to worry about this. You just go ahead and set it up. Whereas Google's like, okay. And then, they're like, well, you can't talk about it. Okay, we won't talk about it. Meanwhile, they set up, like a reporting system that talks about every single time the government has requested a piece of information, what type of piece of information, and they take it as far as they can report on what is being requested. They have done some
good stuff.
Well, the feds have since told them that you can only report in broad ranges.
Right.
So you can say between 0 and 500, and you cannot list the specific types.
And they did something, and I don't know exactly what it is. I'll have to look it up here on the break. But they did something so that you could actually figure it out. They
Twitter
reported it
has
in such a way
actually
that they
sued them.
Yeah.
All right, it's true. Google isn't totally evil, but what they're doing in this case is definitely not okay. There's more on the way. 855-450 free if you want to share your thoughts. It's Free Talk Live.
How fast are new Allegra gel caps?
I didn't know you got a cat fast.
How strong are new Allegra gel caps?
10 more lawns to go strong.
Non-drowsy Allegra gives you noticeable relief of your toughest allergy symptoms in just 1 hour, 2 times faster than Claritin, and stays strong for 24 hours.
It's relief when the pollen's off the charts strong, even in the convertible.
New Allegra gel caps. Nothing's faster, nothing's stronger. Guaranteed or your money back. Visit Allegra.com. Use only as directed.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
So who else will you meet at the Get Prepared Expo? For starters, from Republic Broadcasting, John Moore and John Statmiller. From GCN, Aaron and Brad Dakins, Joyce Riley, and me, Vincent Finelli. Joining us are the instructors whom you've learned to trust. Surgeon of the Year, Dr. Norman Shuley. Engineer, Matt Stein. The real Fox Mulder of the X-Files, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. Author and analyst, Captain John Reagan. Your counterterrorist from Central America, Mike Ma. Dental Center owner and my dentist, Dr. Howard Shane. Radiation instructor, Craig Douglas. Author and survivalist, Rich Sheben. Author, Judy Dollarhite. Cancer Center owner from Mexico, Dr. Patrick Vickers. Bug out expert and pilot, Captain Bill Sermo. Beekeeper, Jeff Maddox. Seedsman, Mike Knox. Author, Gayla Pruitt. Author, Harry Cooper. Food expert, Joe Acapinti. And Bill Whaley, the Junk Man. March 27, 28, and 29. GetPreparedExpo.com, the largest preparedness and survival expo in the USA.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
When I found the Free State Project, I knew it was the key to achieving liberty in my lifetime. It's awesome to be surrounded by like-minded, freedom-loving activists who've moved here to New Hampshire. From politics to civil disobedience, we have it all. Where I came from, it felt that no matter what I did, liberty was dying. Perhaps you feel the same way? Call 888-377-2515 now to learn more about the Free State Project. That's 888-377-2515 or visit freestateproject.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial on in toll-free here in the remaining moments. We've got enough time for you if you call now. You can also check in with us on Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM, and I prefer if you call on Skype because you'll sound really good compared to the average phone, actually compared to pretty much any phone. So you can join us also, again, online at freetalklive.com. If you like what we're doing at Free Talk Live, if you want to help support the show, then you can shop with us at shop.freetalklive.com. You enter Amazon through the links you'll find there, and Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale. Now, Amazon's like Google, right? Like, you know, they're not perfect either. There's some stuff that Amazon's done that I don't necessarily agree with. But if I'm, for instance, to boycott Amazon and Google as a result of some of the bad things they've done, then, you know, that essentially is cutting off, some income that we have coming into the show. And this isn't the most popular show in the world, so it's not like we've got a whole bunch of income streams coming in here. And so I can understand how difficult this is for Antiwar to go through this, where Google is basically saying you've got to change your content for us. If you want to continue with these ads, you've got to change remove these graphics from your pages. A page about the Abu Ghraib abuses, they're saying you can't have pictures up on that page. Apparently the text is okay, but the pictures are wrong or something like that. And Daryl, you've been going through this list of prohibitions by Google, and it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, I guess self-conflicting,
yes,
so to speak. Let's go to Cyphase. He's on the line in California. Cyphase, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi, I just wanted to throw out a couple of quick thoughts about this whole topic.
Yes, sir.
First of all, you guys keep mentioning the fact that the page has been up for 11 years. And I don't know if that really matters so much. I mean,
it certainly does, because it means that Google had at least 11 years to complain about it.
Well, sure, but I mean, I kind of doubt that they knew about it for 11 years and they just decided now. I mean, probably just somehow it came to their attention now, or some rule changed a few years ago or something. I mean, I just don't think the fact that it's been 11 years since the page is up necessarily means that they knew about it the whole 11 years, and now they're coming after them for it. And I'm not defending what they're doing necessarily. I'm just saying that fact by itself I don't think really is as relevant as it seems that you're making it.
All right, next point.
Sorry. Yeah. So just the other point was, as far as possible reason that they have all these rules, Johnson brought up one part of it, and that it could certainly be something to do with complying with all of the various laws about, like, you can show this and that advertising and whatnot. But I think possibly the other part of it is just they have these rules to sort of lessen the possibility of controversy around certain things. I mean, like, if you have some kind of website that's showing certain violent content, they may just not want the hassle, basically, of having, people complain, you're showing ads on this page, So does Google support it and whatnot?
Sure, you could say that there are certain advertisers who would not want to be associated with Gore, for instance. On what was it, ogrish.com is a kind of a Gore site. I could understand why, the local Kia dealer probably wouldn't be so happy with being on a site where people are getting their heads smashed in.
Well, I doubt that the keywords typed in for the Ogre site and the Kia dealership are not really going to mash up to where you're having Kia pop up on your Ogre site.
Well, no, it wouldn't necessarily have to do with keywords so much.
It absolutely has to do with keywords. It could be location-based.
It could be that you're going to the site and it detects that you're in Keene, New Hampshire, and that the local car dealer wants to get you an advertisement.
Have you used AdSense before?
Yeah.
You put in certain keywords that you want your ads to appear on pages with those keywords. So it's not based on location.
Entirely true. I mean,
hello?
If you were logged into your Google account, for example, or you just had the cookie from Google, you can see ads on a page that are based on pages you've previously been to. So just because an ad is on a page, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of the keywords on that page. It could be because, earlier in the day you were on a site looking at baby products, and now for whatever strange reason you are on some site with violent content, and there could be an ad there for baby products because you were there earlier in the day.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that you can target ads on AdSense by geography as well, to where it shows up only on people's computers who are in a certain geographic area.
Well, as far as geography, it will only show up in those areas, but I don't think it'll show up just because you're in the area, unless you choose that, which, usually...
that's a good point. Daryl's right. You do generally have to select words to associate the ad with, but, still, Ogrish it's a kind of a Gore site, so it wouldn't be uncommon for a car accident to be shown on Ogrish, or the remnants of the corpse at the car accident, and then there you go, all the local car dealers are on the side of the page. So it doesn't take a whole lot to see how that could happen and be offensive to the advertisers.
Right, and I understand that Google wants to have a CYA policy.
Yeah.
But the way they have the policy, again, it's so broad, and in some cases,
this is clearly
seems to be conflicting to where nobody really knows what the policy is, so that it can be arbitrarily enforced.
Is it conflicting, or is it just specific as to, if you have these kind of guns, but not these kind of guns?
Well, it says that you can have a site about martial arts or boxing, but you can't have a site about fighting.
Yeah.
That seems to be conflicting to me.
It absolutely is. Right. It's very hypocritical, and clearly they're so vague. And thank you, Sci-Face, for the call tonight. Clearly they're so vague, these descriptions, that they can be enforced arbitrarily. And, they're not erring on the side of, this is clearly news coverage, right? Because if I were their censor, or whatever you want to call this job position, where there's some
I did not see the words newsworthiness or media anywhere.
It's funny. I've got a great top 10 list here of, things that Google has done with Google AdSense, right? Where they inappropriately place ads, and maybe they're trying to stop this. But for example, there's a thing where on a YouTube ad, an AdSense popped up where it was a video of a police deputy shown kicking a teen girl. And what's the AdSense ad? Become a police officer, or let's see.
Well, that is why some people become police officers.
Yeah, it's true.
Somebody's searching for meth crime by address in Las Vegas. And so then an ad comes up for looking for Las Vegas meth. Find it by locale and location.
What?
Local.com. It's like, because the way the algorithm worked is because
there's actually an advertisement. Are you looking for Las Vegas
the
meth?
ad was created algorithmically, looking for Las Vegas meth, because these stupid search engines, some of the way they write their ads is so that when the Google search bot comes in, it just feeds back exactly what your search is. Like, are you looking for this? We have it on our site.
Gotcha.
Like, it's like, no, you don't. It's like I was searching for magical diapers. Like, oh, you're looking for magical diapers?
Right.
Whatever. It's like, it just feeds your search back to you. Racism. Let's see what this search is for. Somebody's searching for racism. So here's another one of those automatically generated ads on eBay. Great deals on racism. Browse huge selection now.
Boy.
That kind of thing. Happening all over. Baby, buy it cheap on eBay. Buy a baby.
In Baltimore, the streets have gotten safer thanks to the success of the new Permanent Daylight Initiative, which aims to prevent Baltimore. The streets have gotten safer thanks to the success.
I am so sorry. I must have named this incorrectly. I apologize. I was going to play the Google ad with the Onion, and I don't have it. Sorry about that.
Here's one.
It was labeled Google God. That's what it was supposed to be, but.
Here's one somebody searched for wolves and an ad came up for people mating with animals. Thousands of products, save and compare.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. But yet they want to stop people from looking at Antiwar. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And hopefully we're going to be having Angela Keaton, who still has a job over at antiwar.com because it's been major budget cuts over the last couple of years. It's been hard for them to keep the site's doors open, so to speak, and we're hoping to have her on to talk a little bit further about maybe the internals that have been happening. What haven't we seen in the official blog posts that have been coming out about this situation?
Well, we do know that some of the people working at antiwar.com have taken pay cuts.
Yeah, that's true. That's happening in the radio business too, where budget gets cut. If you want to keep your job, you're gonna have to cut your pay. But they're doing important work there, and I do support what they do. Go check them out at antiwar.com. Obviously, they're taking donations now more so than ever.
And they take Bitcoin.
Yep, that's true. Antiwar.com, and check out Daryl on his website, fpp.cc. And don't forget freetalklive.com. We'll see you tomorrow night for the live Saturday edition at that time.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
The latest episode of The Corey Moore Show is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates, online at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan with your Liberty Beat for Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Gold opened today at $1,165, down $10. Silver opened at $15.92, down 7 cents. And Bitcoin is trading around $259.50. Today's Bitcoin price is brought to you by ExpressCoin, the fastest, most reliable way to buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin today at expresscoin.com. In the news, officials with the U.S. government have announced they cannot find more than $500 million worth of U.S. military aid given to Yemen. The Pentagon admitted to losing the whereabouts of small arms, ammunition, night vision goggles, patrol boats, vehicles, and other equipment provided by the U.S. Members of Congress have been attending closed-door meetings with military officials in an attempt to hold someone accountable. The Pentagon has suspended all shipments to Yemen. According to a review of federal data, the Obama administration has set a new record for censoring files or blocking access under the U.S. Freedom of Information Act. The Associated Press studied requests to 100 federal agencies during 2014. They found an administration that takes long periods of time to respond to requests and often claimed no records existed or refused to release records until they were challenged in court. The U.S. government spent about $28 million on lawyers' fees to keep records secret. Nearly 40% of all requests were denied. Protesters with the Blockupy Alliance battled with riot police early Wednesday in Frankfurt, Germany, at the opening of a new headquarters for the European Central Bank. An estimated 7,000 people rallied and fought with the police, who threw tear gas and fired a water cannon. Around 550 protesters were detained, 94 police officers were injured by stones, and 7 police cars were set on fire. Support for Liberty Beat comes from CoinArch, offering innovative trading solutions for Bitcoin. Do more than just buy and sell Bitcoin. Use long and short positions to profit in rising and falling markets and boost your returns through leverage. Visit coinarch.com and sign up using coupon code MAX and get free brokerage for the first 7 days. Looking to promote your business or cause to tens of thousands of loyal listeners? Well, for a limited time only, the Liberty Beat is offering you the chance to say big while spreading your message. It's simple. Just sign up for 3 months of advertising and get your 4th month free. Don't miss out on this unique opportunity. Just visit thelibertybeat.com/advertise and use coupon code GCN in the Describe Your Company section. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. On Wednesday, a group of parents of the 43 missing Mexican students appeared in Houston as part of a tour across the United States. Protesters gathered with the families outside of Houston's Mexican consulate, holding signs and chanting. The protest was in solidarity with the families, who have not seen their children since they went missing in September of last year. The parents are planning to travel to New York on April 28th to ask the United Nations to investigate the human rights violations in Mexico. Law enforcement and government officials have been suspected of working with local gangs to murder the students. Researchers in Brazil have published a long-term study in the Lancet Global Health Journal that claims breastfed babies are more likely to turn into well-educated and higher-learning adults. The researchers from Brazil's Federal University of Pelotas